Yo, what is up, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of the Convo es su casa. We in this bitch. We are here in South Florida, in Miami. So I had to put on my Miami outfit. I'm here with Pasta, Jardula, and Fiorella, Isabel. And oh yeah, y'all know we got a lot of shit to talk today. Y'all know we got a lot of shit to talk. See, for the last 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, we've been right about a lot of things. You know, and this great unmasking has been exposing everybody. And before we get into that, I do want to do some shout outs. Cause I know we got both a lot of Convo fans and a lot of MCSC fans.
Are we on Rockfin too?
No, we're not live on Rockfin right now. We're gonna post it later on Rockfin.
Okay.
Edwin Medina, what's going on? G Force, James, Lima Bean. Is that Lima Bean? I can't read. Probably Lima Bean, man. I ain't changed the spelling of that word.
Well, from Lima, it's a Peruvian bean.
No, that's not what it's called. It's called lima bean.
Well, like Will Ferrell just be making up shit as he go along.
No, I thought it was from Peru, Lima bean.
I mean, it's probably how you would pronounce it in Spanish, I guess, but...
No, Lima is the capital of Peru, right?
Yes.
Bro,
So they got beans, they're called Lima beans.
Why does he have to change his voice when he talks
What are you talking
about a Latin American country?
I know, right?
This is my regular
Well, technically,
voice.
he's supposed to say in the correct accent. That's actually being considerate. Technically speaking.
Yeah.
That's being considerate.
Thank you.
It's better than being lazy.
And I'm really in the mood for a nice café con leche.
Jesus
right over
Christ.
here. I think we should grab one.
All right, ladies. All right, Latinas, you heard him. He's clearly showing out for y'all
here.
right now. He's here in Miami. He don't know how to act.
Hit him up.
You see, he got a nice little shirt on, right?
There you go. Café con leche.
He got his sleeves
Look at
rolled
your
up.
outfit, baby. Let's talk about this
mean?
outfit, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about this outfit
I'm
here?
in Miami.
This is pimp.
Look. I mean, usually I'm in Miami, but I got the fam here now, so a little bit different.
And family, you look radiant in red.
I know.
I'm gonna say that.
Yo, Fee was on time today. Everybody give a hand for Fiorella. Pasta was late though. Pasta was late.
I got family.
Second
shit.
time in a row. They got family shit too. Both of their family here.
Their family is in Orlando. We are down here in
So what
in
you're
South
saying
Florida.
is they're a whole ass city away, and we're still on time.
Why you gotta bring up old shit? By the way, what's his name died? Tony Zeus Lister. Debo died. Shout out to Debo last week.
I mean, but yeah, shout out to him. That's sad, man. But shit, why you gonna make it sad? We gotta talk about so much sad shit already.
Well, you gotta send my love out.
Look how sad this progressive movement looks right now.
Seriously.
The progressive movement's about to die.
Well,
I
I think we're about to rise from the ashes. I think we're being reborn, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
That shit needs
the
to
real
die.
leftists are coming out, and the fakes are being exposed.
Mm-hmm. We got Holly Horn. We got President Jafar in the
Sup, guys?
building. Red Sea Socialist.
Oh, let me share. Let me like,
G
share.
Crispy.
I'm already subscribed.
Did you share it to all them little thirsty ass motherfuckers on Facebook? You
No.
share it.
I
Come
didn't.
on, man.
I will.
Sure
I'm sorry for
She looked at me like, what you talking about? Huh? Check it.
Okay.
Pasta mic is echoing because Pasta loud. Okay, which one's Pasta mic?
Number one. Better?
Yeah, should be.
Better? Better?
Jeez.
Better?
You're so shut up.
Can you hear
Oh
me
my
now?
god.
Can you hear me now?
Pedro,
Yeah.
Red and Black. Red Sea Socialist. What's going on? Hold on, Red Sea. I thought I made you a moderator. Why is it not showing up as a moderator? That's weird. I might have made Red and Black a moderator too. He always be in the chats. What's going on? We just gonna moderate crazy in this bitch. What's my Niko like dog? I don't know what that means. No, Niko like cat. You mean? No. Niko like the goddess Nike, but the male version.
I'm talking about your outfit.
Oh no! I think no, because Niko is like in Japanese it means cat.
Why do they got a COVID-19 restriction
On our
on
video,
our shit? Like,
Should I
seriously.
put the word COVID?
Why do they got a COVID stimulus and they put a COVID thing on it? I mean, can we really talk about the censorship just going crazy? This is ridiculous.
Go ahead.
I'm
Pasta.
going to the libertarians.
Go
That's
ahead.
why I'm going there. I'm going to start my own caucus in the libertarian group. I'm going to be a leftist libertarian because the freedom of speech and the civil liberties it's just awful. And it takes a guy like Josh Hawley, senator from Missouri, to go out there and try to fight for some extra money. He's the only one calling Facebook to task.
It ain't just him. It ain't just him because there's like 40 other states doing Facebook. I don't know if y'all noticed something. So if you go to your Twitter now, because y'all know I be all over social media and shit. If you go to Twitter now, right, and say if you want to share a post, so you have different options now. So you obviously have the option to share to your fleet, but do you know that you have the option to share somewhere else too now?
Nowhere.
Instagram stories, and Snapchat.
Oh,
Really?
Now, as if
I gotta do that.
for those who have
Maybe
watched
do
my
my
video
stories.
where we were covering the Facebook lawsuit from the Justice Department from 40 other states, it actually said the main crux of the lawsuit was that they were using their monopoly to crush people by not allowing your app to interface with theirs if you have any of their features. So when that, and then it's the damages are if they lose it, which it look like they might, the damages are going to be up until the lawsuit ends, and including during the lawsuit. So this looks like literally damage control. So now you can share your tweets into your stories directly from Twitter.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's how it should have been.
Yeah.
That's how it should have been. But obviously that their direct competition, that good stuff. I'm pretty sure Jack is like, after that whole meeting, Jack was like, "Hey, Zuck, what's good, bro?" So
It just feels like they're also.
don't forget Assange. What's up, Fee?
It just feels like they're like closing in though, monopolizing every social media channel.
Well, nah, because that's direct competition. So it's a little bit different. It's different if you so if you can share everywhere, even with competition, that means you as a tech company now has to step your game up and actually has to innovate rather than copy and paste, which is what Facebook does. They just if they can't beat you, they buy you out and then just copy and paste what somebody else has already done. Remember, Instagram stories is just Snapchat, but for Instagram.
Yeah.
Reels is just TikTok, but for Instagram. So now I want to go ahead and get this show on the road because Lord knows we got a hell of a show today. I really don't even know where to start, but I guess the best place to start would be this COVID-19 stimulus. It stimulates somebody, ain't stimulating me though. But the stimulus package that just got passed in the Senate and passed in the House. Now, there's a problem with that because there was a problem with the printing machine. And they also had problems uploading the bill. Now, the problem with that might have started because it literally took a cart to bring the bill into the House. And it also means that, of course, there was no bill brought into the Senate. So Bernie voted for this in somewhat of a braggadocious way. Like, yeah, we got something done. Obviously, we've seen the Democrats in the Senate praising the $600, saying it's not enough, but still choosing to vote for it. And they literally did not see the bill before voting for it.
Same with the CARES Act. Same bullshit.
But the Senate saw the CARES Act. It was like they didn't have enough time to go through it, but they at least saw it. They didn't see the shit.
So they just voted on something?
They just voted on
something. Is it in the House yet? I mean...
It's in the House now.
All right, so it went through the Senate. What did it go through the Senate by?
I don't know yet. I don't
was it like a 98?
They said they're having trouble getting information onto the website. So at least last time I checked. So,
did they have a recorded vote this time or another voice vote? I don't even know if they can do that in the Senate. Do they have to go on record for everything in the Senate?
No, they can do voice vote. There's a bunch of co-sponsors already.
Because I hate when we got to listen, like with the whole AOC thing, like AOC voted against it, AOC voted for it. It's like I didn't hear a female's voice. Literally, when we listened to the voice vote, I'm like listening like this for the nays. Like I didn't hear no female there.
Yeah, we know AOC is definitely loud when she feels like it, right? Yeah. So that brings me to my other point. So AOC, y'all know she's been blaming Republicans for everything in the bill for like the last 2-3 weeks, right? And especially over the last 2-3 days. Now, that's all that would be well and good, except for you had no goddamn idea what was in the bill and who was attributed to what, because nobody read it yet, except for obviously probably Pelosi, Schumer, and Mitch McConnell. Yeah. So how the hell do you know to blame Republicans and not Nancy Pelosi? And then Nancy Pelosi, of course, we know came out recently and said $600 is actually really good.
Yeah.
So which means she supported this.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because it was a Republican in the Senate, and Josh Hawley, who wanted the more money, who even said that if there's no stimulus money in that bill, then you should veto it, Mr. President. I didn't hear her say that. I saw him say that. And what does she do? She just goes and does what she always does.
So him and Sanders pushed that. Totally. But Sanders went on, what was it, CNN, and he was like, saying how bad it was and blah, 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 and I'm pushing for $1,200. But then at the end of the interview, he was like, yeah, I'm willing to vote for the $600 if I have to. It's the same thing with the CARES Act. Like, I'd rather them get something than not. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but $600 is an insult.
It's not only an insult, but you have to think about the ramifications from bringing in the rest of the bill. So, like, this is, from what I've seen, like, ostensibly worse than the CARES Act, because this isn't just funding the oligarchy. Like, there's a bunch of money. Like, first of all, tell me why they're doing $32 billion to buy and hand out vaccines. Now, the whole vaccine debate is a different conversation, but didn't we just give Pfizer $2 billion?
I think so.
So now we're giving them $32 billion?
Yeah.
I almost guarantee it does not cost $32 billion to distribute vaccines.
Yep.
I can almost guarantee it, y'all.
Yep.
Like, in matter of fact, if the government really wanted to commandeer the shit, they could. Like, that's federal power.
Who are we paying?
Yes.
Like,
Pfizer and BioNTech.
Exactly.
Maybe a little bit goes to Moderna if they get theirs out in time.
Yeah.
So, but who are we really giving money to? The CEOs, and it's probably the ones who just divested because they know that their vaccine's about to go to shit. Because CEO of both Pfizer and Moderna, they sold their stocks right before these vaccines came out. Yep. And so they're probably going to get recouped. Like, hey, put your name on the line for this. We got you. Don't worry about it. And it looks like they're getting paid back in full. Egypt getting tens of millions of dollars for the military. Yeah. And they're sending $700 million to Sudan through the State Department specifically. So not only are you funding the oligarchy, but you're also funding the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole Ethiopian River Dam. We talked about this before. Who do we give most weapons to? The three countries are Israel, Egypt, and Colombia. We give them a hell of a bunch of weapons. So what are they going to do? We get them to get this little proxy war. We know that China has invested money into that dam with the Ethiopian people. Mm-hmm. And the weaponry that Egypt's been getting. It didn't surprise me they got more money and stuff because they were getting like the capability of long-range jet fueling so they can fly, bomb the dam, fuel, and go back.
Now you get to give it to him twice.
Yeah, because extra money.
Biden has to he's going to do another NDAA once he gets in. So now you snuck them $700 million, or excuse me, you suck them tens of millions. You suck Sudan $700 million to the State Department, which is really going to go to independent contractors. We know that's who that money's for. And then you got to do the NDAA where they're about to get more money. I tagged Tulsi on Twitter and said, do not vote for this garbage because for Tulsi specifically, this is antithetical to everything so it's already one thing. We're talking about the oligarchy because she wasn't there to vote for that other bill, and I'm not even quite sure she would have voted for the CARES Act. But
people are saying she voted for it.
Yeah, it's
no, she didn't.
She wasn't
there. Y'all think she did because Bernie and AOC did.
Here's the thing. She did say something that she talked about the positive stuff about the bill that's going out there. But let me tell you something. Yeah. And that might not be the best thing, but she did put a UBI up for a vote beforehand and presented a different solution before they went to the CARES Act. She was just desperate for people to get some money because they were struggling.
It was way.
Yeah, it's still not okay.
It was what 3 weeks before we even talked about quarantine. We didn't even know. Well, she knew. A lot of people then we found out later the politicians knew, but they didn't even know the quarantine was coming. She tried to introduce UBI and do the rent and mortgage freeze 3 weeks before any of the shit popped off. And now you see people all of a sudden want to talk about doing the moratorium. By the way, AOC, according to her rep account, said that it's only a moratorium on some renters. So not even everyone is safe.
Exactly.
But already no one is fucking safe, apparently, because people are still getting evicted. Bree is talking about that. This is happening in New York in the middle of
Rebecca Parsons from Seattle. She was we had her on the show before. Mm-hmm. She was a candidate for Congress. She got an eviction notice. That she even talked about.
I've just walked literally.
Is there anything for moratorium in the new bill? Or?
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
It just, come on, bro.
What is it though?
We haven't seen it. We don't know. We haven't seen it. It just said some renters.
Yeah. So what I know is it extended it another month.
That's a month, but only for some people.
Oh.
Yeah, just 1 more month.
Well, for mortgage people, you had to have like a certain loan to get it, right? It was like a UVA loan or something else like that. I can't remember. Federal loan.
Yeah, which most I would say most are federal.
Loans.
So it ended in December, and it federally, and it was extended to the end of January.
Speaking of lesser of two evils, so you telling me Trump can't extend a mortgage loan longer than the Democrats? Wow. Who did y'all vote for? Who did y'all vote for?
Close to my mic. Gotcha.
Who? I can't remember. I thought that Biden was the lesser of two evils, and I thought that the Democrats were the lesser of two evils. And when we were telling everybody it was an oligarchy and there is no such thing as a lesser of two evils in an evil system, then we were actually crypto fascists. That's what I was told.
A right-wing grifter.
Right-wing grifters. And still, once again, I'd say, and yet they're extending the unemployment and they're getting $300, but. And I don't know how long that's supposed to last. They said to what, March or April?
3 months.
Something like that.
Now, 3 month extension.
So is it December, January, February?
Yeah.
Part of December, maybe into April, into March.
Mind you, Trump started his September to October, November, December. So Trump with an executive order.
Yeah.
Now, we also got to go to the fact that he said, you put a $1,200 stimulus bill, just that, only that, on my desk
standalone bill
right now.
And I'll sign it.
Right now.
Yeah.
Do it right now.
And she didn't do it.
Nope. Nancy Pelosi didn't do it.
And now he's pushing
AOC
over
didn't call her out for it.
too.
Bernie didn't call her out for it. No one called Pelosi out for. And matter of fact, they started talking about Mitch McConnell. So now Nancy Pelosi brings the $600, so it's less than what we were going to get before.
Yep.
Yeah.
And no one wants to talk about Nancy Pelosi now.
Nancy Pelosi did go, well, we'll never get it through the Senate. And Mitch McConnell and Trump said, if you put a standalone bill, I'll get it through they've already talked. He said Mnuchin went and talked to McConnell, and they said they would sign a standalone $1,200 bill for direct assistance, because they know Republicans not going to veto that bill. You know what I'm saying? If you put that up, and you got to put that into the public eyes where they're starving.
Especially because, Trump's going to tweet about it over and over again. So if the Republicans veto it, so we got to put this in context, especially because we're talking about politics. Mitch McConnell would have had, if he did want to veto it, he would have had to veto it. And this was, I think, before they had made the decision between what's her name?
Amy Coney Barrett.
No. Right? The one in Kentucky running against, that beat Charles Booker. Because they were trying to figure out who was going to win.
Yeah.
And they were going to run against McConnell.
Yeah.
So McConnell was in the middle of a Senate race. Mm-hmm. Well, at least one of his candidates was funded just as well as he was. And he could have ended up losing. And I imagine that they would have taken advantage of that moment. Like, you know what? Let's test McConnell. But, Nancy Pelosi's political instincts are trash, and so are Schumer's. Yeah. And so they didn't even take advantage of that moment. So that goes into the idea of trying to pretend that these people are actually honest political actors where they're actually trying to win, because they're not really trying to win. What they're really trying to do is maintain as much power as humanly possible while placating the masses, which if you understand that, then you understand why it's so important for the force to vote.
Yeah.
Because it's not about, we don't think that the Democrats actually want to win. We don't think they're going to do the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing. In fact, most of us think it's the opposite. But the same thing happened with the Civil Rights Amendments. People forget that got introduced and it died. It got killed. Yeah. And there was such a national uproar about the shit that when it got reintroduced, it was passed unanimously.
Yeah.
So, and you think those people are honest actors? No. You think the Dixiecrats want to vote for that? No. Lyndon B. Johnson was a fucking racist who was known as the connoisseur of an N-word, and he had to sign the shit. So do you think that if you put national pressure in the middle of a pandemic on somebody to vote for Medicare for all, when you can have a YouTuber trending #1 on Twitter, bro, Jimmy is a YouTuber trending #1 on Twitter in the middle of an argument, accidentally, between AOC and Justin Jackson, the fucking running back for the LA Chargers. There is never in the middle of a pandemic, there's never going to be a better time to make the case for Medicare for all. It won't pass this time. Well, and that is not even actually for sure, because I don't think anybody wants to be on the record for voting against Medicare for all in the middle of a pandemic.
No, we have to wait for the momentum. We're almost there. We're almost there. We're pushing committees and we're getting this thing done. We have to wait for the right time.
Committees.
It's not there.
Committees.
We don't have the votes yet.
We're
not there.
Position. Got thrown off the committee because somebody
We've
did.
so much momentum, you guys.
The person who actually did use their leverage and said, "I'm not voting for Nancy Pelosi." She
got the committee position and stuff.
Yeah.
And she probably still ain't gonna vote for Pelosi. That's what's funny.
Yeah, she probably still won't. But what about this whole moratorium? Because the moratorium is just a kickback. In other words, they're still going to owe the money. All these renters are still going to owe this money for God knows how long. And there's this Italian guy named Vic who has this rant, and it caught on fire because he talked about, why don't you just give rent forgiveness, and for the mortgage people, just take what they owe and put it on the back end of the loan. In other words, just extend their loan stuff. So therefore, because you told us to stay home, you told us to shut down these businesses.
I think they need to pay everybody's mortgage in the country for as long as I think because they have the money for it.
They could just put it on the back end of the loan and
say,
fuck
that. No, fuck that.
No, I don't want to pay anything back.
No,
but it's it's on the back end of the loan. In other words, you don't have to pay it to the end of the loan.
No, fuck that.
The renters
don't need to pay shit. You made me not go to work.
Yeah.
You made me shut my business down.
Right.
You made I have to stay home with my kids now because I can't go to work because y'all got half-ass schools halfway open, halfway closed. Yeah. Y'all don't know what the hell y'all want to do. Then y'all don't want to fund the schools appropriately. Yep. It's all this shit. Because even if people want to go back to work, they can't. And now they're even incentivized to not go back to work because in this bill, it's if you make over $99,000, you might not qualify for either the stimulus, the $600 check, or
I know
you're
in no man's land. So you have a house and shit.
And so for all of these bourgeois socialists out here that think that it's cool to be upper middle class and shit on progressives trying to fight for you, guess who the most vulnerable group is? It's the upper middle class. That is the group that they are trying to destroy, because y'all are on the cusp of stopping the elite from getting what they want, because you're that small business who could be competition for Facebook or Walmart or Costco. You're the competition that small gym that could take on Planet Fitness eventually one day. You're the competition for that franchise restaurant that's trying to move in on your block. You are the one they're going after. Yep. And that's why the small businesses are getting loans while the corporations are getting grants.
Yep.
And so if you are upper middle class, or your family's upper middle class, there is no one getting more screwed than you are. And that's including with healthcare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of those businesses, the small businesses who still have employees on their payroll, still have to pay the government for healthcare.
Yeah.
Even though their employees aren't using it.
Yeah. And you know that they have to spend that money a certain way. They have to send it out. They can't spend it out. Like, in other words, if I was a business and a PPP loan and I got it and I said, okay, I want to lower my payroll, right? Because I'm not going to have extensive payroll now. I can lower it or not, but still make sure everybody gets their check. And if they don't get a certain amount, they can get unemployment and they get the difference. But I want to use this money to build out an outdoor patio now that because COVID, whatnot and stuff. You can't use that money to do it. In other words, you are subjected to use the money they give you for the restaurants and the PPP a certain way and a certain way only. And it's funny, I've heard a lot of people complain about
because
that.
you literally could just got your own business loan. Yeah. And did what you wanted to do. And it's funny because you can't even qualify for PPP loan unless you have good credit. Now, a lot of businesses, because there was a long period between them getting their PPP loans.
A long time.
First of all, them passing legislation and then getting the PPP loans, because they didn't get the checks. People weren't getting approved till weeks later unless you had it in with one of the banks. Right. So they were relying on credit cards when they applied, maxed out their credit cards. Now their credit gets tracked. Oh, sorry, you don't qualify for PPP now. Well, give me one of them damn grants you're giving the corporation. No, we can't do that.
And did you see the letters too? Like, I read the letter for a corporation. It was one page. Sign here and we'll give you $10 billion. I read Ungi's list from Chase Bank, and it was like, if you do this, you are subject to be tried or whatnot, or be arrested or whatnot. Like, they put this threatening where, like, people would be looking at this loan oh man, I don't know if I should take this. I don't want to get myself in trouble. They use actual scare tactics to the businesses down below. Meanwhile, the big corporations, they were like, at a Miami strip club.
That was the goal. People don't understand the CARES Act, this bill, the goal, the $600 is just so you'll shut the fuck up. That's what it is. It was always to fund corporations and kill small businesses. It was always to kill the working class. They want you to be working from home. They don't want you. They're trying to kill service-based industries. They want everybody working for Uber. Silicon Valley is fucking great right now. They're doing fantastic. Yeah. Because everybody's working from home, so now you're cutting back on facilities and real estate and all that stuff. All those prices, and still getting subsidized by the government simultaneously. And now you don't know when if you go back to work, it's highly likely that you're going to end up being paid less than what you would have been worth before, because there's going to be less demand for whatever you're doing, or
they're going to cut costs.
They're going to cut costs. That's what and they have the ability to do it because you need the job. Not they can find somebody that will do it for less. I promise you. Yeah. and so this bill for Bernie to have voted for this without reading it is unconscionable. The fact that AOC was gaslighting about voting for Elon Musk, 600 isn't enough. 600 isn't enough. Right. Oh, so what you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna vote for it, even though 600 isn't enough, because at least it's something. Oh shit, well let me get some of your check then. Cause it's funny because y'all say COVID spiked right everywhere. That's what the word on the street is. COVID spiked everywhere. But the unemployment checks got lower. The stimulus got lower. But y'all checks seem to stay the same. That's crazy how that math work out. Yeah, that's really crazy how that math work out.
They probably made more money because they're probably invested in big tech and all these other companies that they knew would be. They had the extra money to do so.
So they make $174,000 a year, which is $14,200 a month. Mm-hmm. And they spent all this time trying to decide to give you possibly $600 or $1,200. They ended up giving you $600. Add that to the $1,200. That's $1,800. That's like an eighth of what they get paid a month for 9 months, almost 10 months by the time people get it. That's fucking disgusting. And if you're not angry, because everybody's talking about angry Jimmy and angry this and that. If you're not angry, then what? Are you alive? Because when are you gonna get angry? I mean, it's a pandemic and it's also an economic depression. We have incoming. We haven't even started to see the tidal wave of evictions. So when are you gonna do shit? When are you gonna stand up? Because all these progressives love to say #general strike, right? Yeah. They were talking about a general strike in May. When it came time, crickets. Oh, I don't know, nothing happened. So they talk about direct action, and especially these. And I know
a lot of people who are trying to plan it too, putting time into planning, and people and they weren't about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so now it was trending again a couple of days ago. I don't know if you saw So it's like, we can't even do a simple direct action on Medicare for all. What makes you think you can do a general strike? Yeah. And it's all these people that are like, oh yeah, I'm a communist, I'm a Marxist, I'm anarcho,
They're
whatever.
So stupid.
And it's like,
anarcho-Biden.
You obviously aren't, because you're telling people to vote for fucking Joe Biden. You refuse to hold these electeds accountable, and you're more concerned about Jimmy Dore's house than you are about anything else. So, by the way, the rent in LA, the housing value in LA, a shack costs like nearly $1 million.
Yeah.
$2 million is nothing of real estate in LA.
Oh, from what they're claiming Jimmy spent on that house, bro, you could buy a mansion in one of the nicest parts of Miami. I know it's not Jimmy's house.
Jimmy's house.
It's not even his house. Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, it's not Jimmy's house.
Jimmy lives in he doesn't live in Studio City.
He lives in Pasadena.
Oh, and literally everyone who's been to Jimmy's studio, everybody who's gone into his studio knows he lives in Pasadena. He's never said anything about moving, or else he would have said, like, when has Jimmy ever been shy? Like, Jimmy would, because like people go to his studio, so it didn't make any sense that was a stupid smear. First of all, it was just a stupid smear.
Well, it came out the day he got trended.
Yeah,
like, he
number
was
one,
popular.
Yeah, but it's funny because we wonder why shit like general strikes won't work. But then, because it doesn't get any traction, because these neo-progressives never want action. They actually attack people who want action. Because I know who's about the action. My team is about the action. They're always doing some action shit. In fact, I be getting nervous how much these motherfuckers is about action. I thought I was about the action until I met these people. Johnny be in the street like a damn guerrilla journalist. Like, be out here screaming at politicians. I'm like, you the cameraman.
Portland. I was getting nervous. I'm like, don't get too close, Niko. I'm screaming like he's turning around like this. Like, I got it. He's getting right up on the Fed's face.
Fiorella went like by herself with fucking all the cops. I'm like, yeah, you motherfucker. I'm like, oh my God, these people. But like, the reason that they're like that is because they're fucking mad. And like, how can you not be?
Right.
At a certain point, you just have like a complete and total disregard for your own being, because you see how everybody else, and quite frankly yourselves, is being treated and being dehumanized, that there is no more sitting there and being quiet. And if you talk to the people like Jimmy, when he was talking about he used to be a mason working for 15 years, got so sick, he was literally in so much pain, he just went and let himself die.
They were in debt too.
Yeah, they were bankrupt for several years. You got Johnny and Fiorella go out to a fucking protest, they get arrested at the same time, but somehow Johnny is kept longer, and coincidentally enough, he's the darker one. And it's like, everybody knows I got jumped in Burger King. Like, I have TRICARE, so I'm very fortunate. But my team is all kind of like walking on fucking eggshells, because healthcare, first of all, in California is ridiculous. But healthcare everywhere is ridiculous. People just get healthcare so they don't have to pay a damn penalty at this point. And luckily Trump got rid of that. But still, like, when if you got healthcare, your deductible was ridiculous. Like, the reason that these people are so mad at Jimmy is because they have nothing else to be mad about. What the hell? What do they got? I don't know, sense of urgency. You ever see Sam Cedars Patreon? You ever see Sam Cedars? No, like, come on, bro. He's an MSNBC journalist. He can afford to hire a whole ass team. You got Emma, who never worked a real job in her whole ass life. Hey, speaking of which, Emma, hey, Fiorella's DMs are open, bro. Because remember, Warren isn't taking any corporate money. Oh my God. Oh my God, can't you say something like that?
Money.
Is this left QAnon?
Darkest money.
That's what you said. Is this left QAnon?
Oh my God. Yeah.
So stupid.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
She's been awful. But can we say something about these neo-progressives that we're talking? Because somebody asked about them, whatnot. Like, and we know a lot of these activists in the streets that do so much great work, but we always say they're not nuanced enough to understand what's going on with policy. But one of the biggest problems why they can't start a general strike is because they demonize people on the right that are different than them, think differently than them, and that's a huge issue. If we're going to move forward, we have to understand where we have some common ground and not call everybody that disagrees with us a Nazi. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's a huge, huge problem, because there are a bunch of people on the right, I call them anti-establishment populist Republicans, that are dying to get in there.
They're registered libertarian or independent, but they just are more conservative. They're populist conservative. I'll give an example of that. Speaking of Nazis, my friend Jack Przobit, who is, by the way, the person who's given me the most oxygen. So there are a lot of people who I've been friends with on the left and who have known me since I've had like 3,000 subscribers, because I was an activist first. For a long time, they didn't want to retweet me. They didn't want to have me on their shows. They were like, not saying they didn't want to come on my shows, but like, it would take them forever to respond back. And by that point, it was like, the story's already over, so whatever. So outside of Tulsi, and maybe one or two others, the left for the most part, they don't like people who have experiences, who marry that, and those experiences come from being a minority or a marginalized person, and you know your shit, and you actually have like experience, and so they would avoid me. And so Jack met me at a conference where I literally was arguing for reparations, and he was impressed with this argument, so impressed that he asked me to be in the documentary because he wanted to get a leftist perspective on Antifa. So in my portion of that documentary, I actually talked about the fact that I needed to know why Antifa was not at Standing Rock. And I got to delve into Standing Rock. I need to know why they weren't in Baltimore. I need to know why they weren't in Ferguson whenever we saw these cops abducting protesters, and a lot of them either dead or have disappeared. I talked about Baltimore. I talked about the fact that at Occupy, whenever they were being infiltrated, literally on Wall Street and getting beat up by cops on Wall Street, I ain't seen no black man show up. And right now, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty safely going to bet that they're not going to show up for Biden's inauguration. Now, that's not saying that there aren't any anti-fascists, but the anti-fascists that are real about this shit, those aren't generally always the ones that get the most energy. Just to put it lightly. Now, he shows this today, actually, to a bunch of young conservatives. They didn't know about Standing Rock. They didn't know about Ferguson. Now, they're all interested because they didn't know it was happening. So, and then, of course, they see me, to be frank, I'm a black man, I'm a leftist, and I'm arguing from a leftist perspective about, like, we have to be careful about who we uplift, because sometimes these people make the shit about them. And they're very selective. Yeah. And they're very selective about what they just choose to protest. And so now you probably have a whole group of conservatives that are finding out about how these indigenous people were treated by their government, the big government that conservatives hate, because the leftists was willing to go onto a right-wing platform and tell the truth, period.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
But we can't tell you how many people were telling us, like, oh my God, Niko, I can't believe he went on that show.
He took a picture with them.
How dare he? Like, that's completely unacceptable. They're worse than anybody. It's like, so do you feel that way about CNN? Do you feel that way about MSNBC? Like, it's unfortunate, but like Russian television, I mean, that's not unfortunate for me because I love RT, but like they're the ones that give us a platform too. And like, I see more right-wing networks giving leftists a platform, and that's fine. To
be frank, and I'm going to cut you off, but so I got all the opportunities I got after that, which then were subsequently on left-wing platforms. That happened because Jack put me on OWAN, because he would, like I said, he was so impressed by my perspective and things that he had not known, and he didn't even know that the majority of the populace left felt the same way I did. And so I go on Ben Swan Live during the debate or during the town halls that night. I ended up going on RT Live the day after the election to talk about the election on their main channel. Like, things that I never had the opportunity to do because the left would literally try to suck the oxygen out of the room, and not just for me, but for my entire team. Yeah. And all of a sudden, we start, because we're saying the same shit we've been saying. It's not new. We're not saying anything new.
We've been talking about these people being frauds for a while.
We just got oxygen. And it's sad that it had to come from Jack, in my opinion. Not because, like, Jack is actually cool as shit. Like, he said if Nina runs for president, that's who he's voting for. So for him to be a Nazi, I'm like, that's a really weird thing for a Nazi to say. Like, and nobody ever, by the way, they, like, y'all could say, because I don't agree with all of his points. That's one thing. But like, y'all be loose with these words, these fucking Nazis and fascism. Everything's fascism, but y'all voting for Biden. You don't know what the fucking word fascism means then. You don't know what it means, truly. But
mitigating damage by voting for Biden.
It's like, with the experience, realistically speaking, we have probably more experience on the ground in like advising campaigns, then subsequently fighting with those campaigns and make sure they get justice for election integrity, and doing the same thing over and over again, from literally local campaigns to national campaigns. We've changed the course of history in ways y'all motherfuckers don't even know about. First of all, we don't get into that right now, but if you know, you know, okay? And yet it took Jack Posobiec to find me at a random conference arguing for reparations before I finally was able to get MCSC Network some national attention. Who is the real problem in that regard? Is it really the right-wing populists, or is it the neoliberal, neo-progressive left preventing people with the experiences like Richie? You see what happened with Richie. Nomiki blocked him, Anna blocked him, and Emma blocked him after he was correcting them on their military-industrial complex talking points. As a person who not only has actually experiences where his family has died, he's Syrian. His family and friends who have died in Syria because of us. But his parents are also in the UN, or at least they were. So he has not only the policy chops, but the experiential knowledge. And so when they get that from somebody with those experiences, the person of color with those experiences, oh, gotta block him. He's dangerous.
It's terrible that they're blocking a dick. Terrible. Awful.
Stop blocking the cock. Stop cock blocking.
Stop blocking the dick.
Like, no.
You shouldn't block dick. And by the way, when we started this shit, 4 years ago, when we all got involved in this, I think we all had like in our minds that we can come to some type of like build a coalition with certain Democrats, like establishment, like whatnot. We thought they were more like them, whatnot.
I didn't think that.
I did. I mean, that's why I was started. We interviewed like all the grassroots. We thought our avenue.
I think you met progressives. Like,
yeah,
you met
progressives. No, even like kind of like people who were like on the.
They were a lot nicer than I was.
Of being like establishment and progressive, whatnot. In other words, we would go to the Democratic conventions. We would interview the grassroots progressives that were running in the Democratic Party. We thought our vessel was in the Democratic Party. Now I don't think it. I think we're completely done with the Democratic Party, and it has no room, like Harry Belafonte said, to be salvaged in what way, shape, or form.
I think all the parties. I think the parties are done. I think that so people get so. And this is something that I think that we all probably have varying opinions on, but Nina's running for Congress right now. She's in Ohio. Move for People Party has been blocked, and actually almost every third party in Ohio has been blocked, and she's running in Cleveland where it's dominantly blue, and she actually has a really good chance of winning because she's already won that district to be state senator. So I said, I don't give a shit if she runs as a Democrat because it's about, for me, the policy and then how you act when you get to the Capitol. Now, if you act like a Democrat when you get on Capitol Hill, we have a problem. Yeah, but I don't care about political parties. I'm not but people will say they'll build their whole strategy about taking over this party. It's like, no, because you're not the first one that had that strategy. You don't think they planned for this?
But don't you feel like the Democratic Party is like, it's just everything it touches corrupts? Like I feel that way about parties in general, but the Democratic Party, I have not seen a person get in there and change the party. I've seen the party change the person,
or they get out,
or be pushed out.
Cynthia McKinney, Tim Canova,
right.
Tulsi. Yeah. I mean, hell, even the Republican Party is pushing out Justin Amash and Thomas Massie. Like, bruh, Justin Amash tweeted this morning because they CNN put out their headline, Senate agrees to da-da-da-da. Justin Amash is like, bro, how we agree on something that we haven't even read? He said that. Then maybe 4 or 5 days ago, he literally tweeted out, Congress is an illusion. Justin Amash, a senator, said this. Thomas Massie was going in today on this new bill. I'm sure we're going to see probably some stuff from Tulsi and maybe a couple other people later. Probably not a couple other people. That's probably the extent of that list, right? I think we all agree.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. Yeah. Like, why does it take a libertarian, and basically a libertarian socialist?
Yeah.
To like, they all are so sick of the duopoly. They're like, fuck this.
Amash is going to run as a libertarian next time. I have a feeling in 4 years. Like,
he's leaving Congress.
Congress completely?
That's what it looks like.
Really?
That's what one of the people that closed his campaign said.
Well, if he even leaves Congress, he can still run again and stuff like that. He's definitely moving towards that libertarian mindset. I just think it was a short amount of time for him to jump in the race this particular time, which I would have loved him to run at. And
you're saying as president?
As president, he would run in 4 years. I think he's going to run as a libertarian. I mean, that would be the best libertarian candidate they ever had. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely most popular.
And he's an anti-imperialist. You know what I'm saying? Civil liberties. He's got to get better on election integrity, but who doesn't? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody does. I mean,
they all suck on it.
And that really sucks that a lot of people couldn't even still say that this election was tainted. And it's tainted, we know, because of the actual framework and the process. That the fact that it's just set up for fraud, that it's set up where ballot harvesting is bad, which is, we didn't think that. We saw it was important, but we didn't think it would be as important as it was this year, the ballot harvesting situation. Like, it is awful now. They have to eliminate it right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I felt so because of my connection in North Carolina, I knew it was coming because it was something that was going on in North Carolina, and the Democrats were trying to bury, even though they were the ones who benefited from the lawsuit. So in North Carolina, there was ballot harvesting. The thing that people say only Republicans just create conspiracy theories about. Yeah. No, so the Republicans cheated using ballot harvesting in North Carolina and got caught. So the entire election had to be overturned for the first time in in the entire country in like half a century. It never happens, and yet nobody was talking about it. I'm like, I know if they're not talking about it, we know it's because they plan on probably in some way using it around the country.
Exactly.
And North Carolina is a hub for the neoliberals. People don't know. That's Research Triangle Park. That's where Duke is. That's where Monsanto is. I think they rebranded as Bayer now. Yeah. NC State and UNC. And that's where a lot that's down the street from Terry
McAuliffe, you talking about?
Terry McAuliffe in Virginia. So like that's and obviously we're not down the street from DC. So a lot of people don't know like that's a major hub for neoliberalism. But yeah, it's
and when Tulsi got called out for the whole Project Veritas shit, she apologized and she put Ilhan and Omar on blast and said, okay, well, why won't you support this bill or vote for it? Crickets. They had enough nerve to come out and say, hey, what you did was bullshit. How can you do this? But when she asked them about the bill itself, crickets. And that mechanism is used in California like there's no tomorrow. How the fuck do we have these drop boxes out in the middle of nowhere? In Wisconsin and California alike, it was so ridiculous that you could just walk up to a drop box that's unattended, unwatched, there's no chain of custody, and start dropping shit into it in the middle of nowhere. And just think about the how unconstitutional it is when you can go and saturate them in one particular political area over the other. Like in other words, in Wisconsin, the Amistad group is talking about it, that it was so unconstitutional, it was Zuckerberg money, backdoor, and they were putting all these drop boxes in all these Democratic areas, one every 2 square miles. But in the suburbs, in the Trump areas, you had a better chance of finding Bigfoot than finding one of these drop boxes. That is bullshit. That's bad for anybody who wants to have free and fair elections. And that's the goal. Okay, we have to stop talking about the Trump and Biden thing when it ends. We need to straighten out our elections. You know, we know, because that's our thing here, how our elections across the board are disgusting. They're set up for fraud. And what populist, progressive candidate or libertarian, green root kind of candidate will ever win if the establishment has these mechanisms in play to constantly steal the elections? It's the down ballot candidates I'm worried about.
When I saw Green Party people pretending like this election was legitimate, I was like, bro, this is exactly why I don't believe in parties. This because it's Green Party people are mostly just rejected Democrats who are upset because they're not part of fucking cool kids. Yeah. Like if I'm being frank, and not everybody like that. Like obviously like a Jamu and Jill are kind of like in a lot of ways anomalies. But like most of the people on the ground just disaffected Democrats who still want to be part of the club, but like they're kind of like socially awkward and they didn't get into Harvard, so they're just trying to, you know, I gotta grift however I can just to feel like I'm included in something. And by the way, this Joe Biden and Trump thing where everybody's debating, it's just you just because you support Trump, it's because you support no. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking about these exact same things for 3 years. We have been talking about the fact that they were doing so much shady stuff in all these different states that Bernie was either projected to win in by a large margin or absolutely was going to win. Like in California, I still believe he was supposed to win in South Carolina. They just used fraction magic because they just switched all the machines out and got rid of all the paper ballots. They definitely use it in Texas. Michigan. We covered the Shadow app after someone stole our story. Somebody stole that story, right? Like I just did a video about it. No one talked about Shadow app, and then all of a sudden it was all over Twitter, and it came from the Intercept. And now we know a little bit more about the Intercept. We kind of get that. And they were like, people all of a sudden start using our stories to build up their legitimacy, and then they spit them in whatever fucking democratic, neoliberal way or neo-progressive way to make it seem as if they are actually legitimate, and then take oxygen out the room from people like us, from people like Jimmy, from people like Richie, people like Harlan's media. Like, we've been Harlan's has been doing a fantastic job talking about Chicago corruption. Like, and of course we know the primary there. Oh God, forget about it. Like, it was so horrible in Illinois.
Yeah. And they called Illinois like early too. Like it's another one of those states. It's gangster and shit like that. Yeah.
Nobody listened to him.
I asked Hardlands. I said, "Why are they calling Illinois so early?" I was texting him on election day. He goes, "Kick Cabela, because Illinois is the most corrupt ass state in the union. That's why they're calling it
right by Michigan. I don't know, man. Michigan,
stuff like that.
Michigan is
the hypocrisy is what bothers me. Right? You hear all these Democrats. They say all this shit, they point the finger at the Republicans, and then you're like, yeah, your own party's doing that shit too as well. How upsetting is it to me? To me, it's really upsetting. I don't know how upsetting it is to you guys, is that now that they had this article come out a couple days ago about how, the primaries in Iowa were messed up. It's been, now they've, confirmed it. It was all messed up. And you got all this leftist YouTubers who do stories about, how Bernie got cheated in the primaries, but yet they still won't acknowledge the same messed up fuckery in the general. I mean, how hypocritical can you be? Because I believe when it comes to election integrity, right now, it's a gift that they did it to Donald Trump, and you have a big group of people on the right who have their eyes open, their antennas up. Now, I don't want them to believe the bullshit when it comes to the ghost of Hugo Chavez's past.
Yeah, that was a weird spin. That was a weird spin.
This bullshit with illegal immigrants voting so they affect the election. That does not happen.
Voter fraud. You know I'm pretty sure they keep getting beaten in court because they keep saying voter fraud.
It's election fraud. And that China is pulling the strings. I wish they would get away from that, but they are touching base on a lot of things. How many times have we said the proprietary software in this machine has to go, right? You know what I'm saying? And also the fact that these elections are not mellifluous, that it will take you forever to get in line, to cast a vote, 5 to 7 hours. People like Dean Logan do that on purpose, so therefore they can push their mail-in ballots. And what do? Oh, now with the mail-in ballot situation, it's more about inclusion. Now we have a higher rate of people voting, so now less people are getting suppressed. That's the bullshit game they pull.
And I know it's bullshit, so Christine Olivo, the young woman who ran against Frederica Wilson, is running again this year. She ran as an independent. Okay, so she did this, what everybody says she should do out here in Florida. Now, fortunately, she had the same exact result as Tim Canova did. But here's what was the most interesting part, because she was a Democrat who was saying this. She came out and said there was about 26,000 mail-in ballots registered, and there were like 28,000 people who voted. But the 26,000 was damn near everybody in the district already. Right. So there was like 105% turnout. Yeah. And now, of course, because neo-progressives don't like black women who are outspoken and know their shit, and are truly independent. She advocates for UBIs, against military-industrial complex, is a small business owner. She has everything. That's the problem. Christine's too goddamn good, and she came on the show and told the damn truth. Nah, I know that the Democrats do this because the Democrats did this against me. If any of those Democrats were worth their fucking salt, any of these neo-progressive Democrats were worth any of their fucking salt, they would tell the truth about how they've been cheated by mail-in ballots in the past and absentee ballots in the past. Because Tiffany Caban in New York, remember, she literally won? Yep. She won the election. Yep. The next day, oh man, we found like 600 absentee ballots, mail-ins, and like 550 of them were for the establishment's chosen candidate. Yeah. Even though there were 6 other candidates, and she won the fucking election by a landslide. Yep. Just enough. It was like by 5 or 6 ballots, Tiffany Caban lost.
And they don't realize they do this to the down ballot candidates, the progressives. They think it's okay because it's being done to Trump and the ends justify the means. It doesn't. They do this all the time to screw out the grassroots candidates who are running that would have a real actual chance. Yeah. And they just, absentee ballots and mail-in ballots, we've been saying this for a long time, even before this election. And the Democrats, the establishment, I should say the establishment, not the Democrats, because the Republicans too, because they took advantage of it. They're in bed with these establishment Democrats. They work together. Oh yeah, that's why they won that seats in the House but lost the presidency. Okay.
Well, no, I think that's actually because of the rigging. I actually think that's a very clear indicator.
Well, listen.
Because when Trump broke the record for income, and they're like, because more people voted. But he also increased in black people, Latino, every single
LGBT.
demographic except for white men.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah. It is.
But when you talk about the mail-in ballots and the fraud that goes with it, we knew before this and stuff, and they used the COVID, right, to change up all the rules, which is another thing coming into play right now, is that people don't realize that so many of these laws that were changed, they were changed unconstitutionally. You got to go through the legislative process. You got to go through the bodies. They got to change it. The Secretary of State, along with the governors, going around these bodies of Congress to change laws. That's illegal. That's unconstitutional.
Let me go ahead and read a couple of these super chats. Bethlehem, what's going on?
Tessafe.
Oh, man. So you get up out of LA. I know y'all hurting over there. May 2021. Get rid of these fake so-called progressives. Love you, fam. Love you too, Bethlehem. Trust me, we trying. The great unmasking is here. It's December 21st, 2020, and I feel my powers. I'm about to go jump off the roof to make sure they're there. Come on, bro. I'm like wearing... Oh, somebody actually just brought up my pink leopard print. Pink leopard print pajamas. I'm calling the fashion police. Call the fashion police. We fuck the fashion police too. Fuck all the po-pos. First of all, I'm the fashion police. King Kong ain't got...
He's going right here. You gotta go to your Denzel Washington.
It's such a Niko outfit.
But so I want to shift gears really quick because there's been a lot of drama.
Did you get Otis B?
Oh no, I think it just
Otis B.
Otis B.
Simply sending a shout out from Illinois. I appreciate all of you. Otis B, we love you too as well. And Red X Black, what up, guys?
Yeah, earlier. So
we got 464 watching.
Yeah, we got a lot of people watching right now. Y'all make sure y'all share this. Make sure y'all like this.
Rock fan.
Hey, real quick, go follow Convo Couch. If you're not already following Convo Couch, listen, you might actually even be able to stay subscribed for a couple of weeks. We've actually been able to keep subscribers lately. It's crazy as hell.
Lately.
Of course, you can go scan that QR code right there. If you're watching it from your television or your iPad, use your phone, scan the QR code. You can follow us on Rockfin as well. You can follow both of us. You can endorse either of us. If you want to, go endorse the Convo Couch. If you watch them and watch me, they might get more, but they have a lot of people. They got a lot of mouths to feed. I'm by myself, but luckily, because Rockfin takes care of us, if you go endorse them and you still watch us, we still get paid too over on this side. That's the beauty of Rockfin.
Let me add on that too.
Very communist.
And you can join in the monetary experience with us by going and getting yourself a crypto or wallet, get some Ethereum, transfer it to Ray, and as we grow, you grow with us.
That's true, and I've been told, hey, there's a few people who listen to me. When I said, go Chris, shout out to Chris Schlias, Chris got a bunch of Ray. A lot of people that did listen, they looking real comfortable right now, especially if they started investing when it was 20 cents. Because Ray is like at $1.60. We got up to like $1.70, $1.80 last night. Yeah. So like literally, it's been like 300 to 400% profit for a lot of people because they got into Ray early. Now it's still $1 and some change, y'all. Go get it now. If you go to Rockfin's website and click on the Ray token, they'll teach you how to buy it. The easiest way to buy it generally is get the My Ether Wallet app. The one with the little space guy, and you can buy it directly in there in Ethereum, directly in there and convert it directly into Ray. Trust me when I tell you, I told you, I said, Jimmy's coming. Nobody want to listen. I said, look, Ron Graham, they're all there. I said, Kim Ivers is coming. They ain't want to listen. I said, Rich is coming. They ain't want to listen. Okay, now I'm telling y'all, Bree is coming. Bree in the Bad Faith podcast, they're coming. And the more that these Whitney Webb, she's there now, Last American Vagabond. Yeah. These really people are coming, and all the best independent shows that y'all love to watch, they're either coming or they're there. And they're getting more and more and more popular, and Rockfin is advancing. They have tipping now, like Super Ray basically, and you can tip on either on the live stream or after the live stream or on a regular post. Like, they have everything, and they're still building. Go invest in the Ray token. I'm trying to tell y'all, bro. Listen. Yeah. We write about election fraud. Okay. We be right about these neo-progressives. Okay. We were right about Rockfin the way it's growing right now. Don't be the one to be late on this one. I promise you. Okay. So with that being said, I want to talk about something else that's been happening over the last few days. So everybody knows Jimmy put out this referendum that was once again super controversial. The controversy was he asked progressives to fight for Medicare for all. I know. It's a lot. I was asking him for a lot. But he did it anyway. And he used his 800,000 subscriber base. Well, it's like 890 now. 890,000 subscriber base, which compared to CNN and some of these other places, like, it's not a lot. But he used that in his platform, and to be frank, the fact that he's a divisive figure, to push politicians to withhold their vote for Nancy Pelosi in a scenario that you wouldn't even necessarily end up with a Republican. You would actually end up having to choose another Democrat with a chance for a progressive, or at least someone who's more progressive, to win. And you get, at the bare minimum, people on record either voting for Medicare for all or voting against it in the middle of a pandemic. Now, apparently, Jimmy's a mean ass, and therefore we hate Medicare for all now. That's basically what I got from this. And it's exposed so many people in ways that I never thought would happen. Like, Jimmy went off on Mike Pokin and told the squad in the nicest Jimmy, this is one of the nicest videos here. He was very reasonable. Hey, if you're progressive, like, just join in and fight with us. Like, I'm not even mad at you because I know you're going to vote for Nancy Pelosi. Like, people don't even think about that part. The fact that he couldn't even do this if he didn't know already that they were going to vote for Pelosi, which he should have never been voted for to begin with. But he was nice. He said, you know what, it's fine. I'm going to give y'all an out because I'm willing to fight this fight together. Let's just hold Nancy Pelosi accountable. And then no one want to respond. And then Justin Jackson, who I'm proud to say we gave his first political interview. He had like 3,000 fucking followers on Twitter. And this was actually after he had a crazy fantasy year, like, still people didn't know about his political life. And he comes on, and he's been growing. He went on Sam Cedar at one point, and he went on, like, he's been on a lot of shows since then, and he's been consistent. Man has defended Tulsi, he's defended Bernie. If he's been lied to, he's even been more than gracious to AOC. He's been very, like, nice to her. Just say, look, bro, like, if this isn't the time to fight for Medicare for all, then what is? Right. So instead of responding to Jimmy, AOC responds to Justin Jackson because he's a football player. Now, she probably thought that she was going to be able to school him. She don't know Justin Jackson.
He went to Northwestern, baby.
He went to Northwestern, and the dude that's a smart cat, y'all. Yeah. Like, because he's literally been watching all of our shows since he was in college. So he knows every argument she's going to make already, and he just dusts her on Twitter like these are just excuses. And then, which I bet AOC didn't know, which is probably why she responded to him, Justin immediately goes on Jimmy's show. So now they're trending number 1 on Twitter, which I just was like, hold up, this can't be right. So I go to my account, damn, this shit right. Let me go to somebody else's account. Went to my other account, damn, shit right. Babe, pull up your phone. Oh my God, Jimmy is actually trending number 1 on Twitter right now for Medicare for all. And the argument no longer was, how do you pay for it? Because if you're a progressive, you can't ask that. It was no longer, well, we don't have the leverage, because we absolutely do. It's the right time. Tulsi, Trump. Nope, you couldn't say any of that shit. So it had to be, oh my God, Bernie is really mean. Or excuse me, Jimmy is really mean. And now we have a situation where people are exposed to, oh, what's up? But now we have a situation where people are exposing themselves. Now Jimmy's sexist.
He's a drunk.
He's a drunk, apparently. He's racist. He's a white supremacist.
He's a white supremacist. He's so rich, and he's a millionaire, and how dare he? That means he's not a progressive.
Yeah, he's not progressive. He's a sadist. Yes, a sadist. He's a SOD funded, apparently.
We said sexist already, right?
Yeah, we said sexist, I think.
Uh-huh.
He's a sexist, drunk, a side apologist.
Sensitive. He's sensitive. And he is sensitive.
He's toxic.
He's unhinged.
I
think Vosh called him unhinged.
Josh Fox called him unhinged.
Oh, Josh Fox.
Yeah, he regretted
Josh
that.
Fox.
Toxic.
That's like a combination of two freaking...
And if you associate with him, you're also toxic.
Yeah, right.
Somebody said that on our thing.
I think that was
Josh Fox's shadow
Socialist.
is Vosh.
Yeah. I think it was Resi Socialist. So now notice in all these conversations, all of a sudden we ain't talking about Medicare for all at all.
Right.
And last time I checked, they had 0 alternative plans for how we get Medicare for all passed in the middle of a pandemic.
And they all ran on it. That was their number 1 issue.
No, but I'm talking about like just the commentators.
Yeah.
Right, and so now
it's the number 1 issue.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And so so before I feel like before he went to number 1, he actually got like Cenk to agree with him. He got Sam Cedar to agree with him that this should be done. But then when he started trending number 1, oh no, that's a problem. That's a problem. We can't have Jimmy trending number 1 on Twitter. That's supposed to be our attention.
Yep.
We're supposed to be. We've been selling out for the last 4 years, so we can be trending number 1 on Twitter. So the people who agreed with him on the action all of a sudden began attacking him. Can you believe, y'all, that Cenk had the motherfucking unmitigated gall to call Jimmy sensitive?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just funny too, because I want to discuss this air of arrogance, this elitism coming from the Brooklyn left, the neo-progressive left, where they are so angry. Nomiki Khan's, she pulled this elitist shit where she was like, we need to rely on those with a background. And I'm getting the same thing on Facebook, like, oh, I would rather rely on these organizers who are Medicare for all if they're not doing it. And they're getting that argument from AOC. Because AOC said that, these organizers, there's a reason why they're not pushing for this. And it's like, they actually are.
Yeah.
But you just because you don't know about it doesn't mean that that's not happening.
Exactly.
And they're so mad that they didn't think of it. And that's what it's become about. They don't like that a guy that was a working class jag-off comedian and doesn't put himself like as an intellectual, but is very smart. Yeah. Is the one that's pushing this, because that makes them look like a bunch of idiots who, oh shit, like with all my Marxist theory and all this other bullshit that I say I read.
Marx was a racist, by the way.
I can't even begin to fucking put out this idea. No, this jagoff comedian, he doesn't know anything. Why are you listening to him? They focus on that. Like, you shouldn't listen to Jimmy Dore. He's sexist. He said Francesca Fiorentini some text, and so anything he says is like, oh, and AOC, look how he's talking to her. This is violence against our movement. It's like, what movement, motherfuckers?
Well, what about all that stock they've invested in AOC right now? What about the fact that, like, when they say this, the argument is that these people, the squad, the leftists, AOC and crew are the most leftist people in Congress. They're the closest things we have to allies, that we shouldn't be attacking them. That's the argument from a lot of people. Right. Any type of sensible argument. Well, number one, I don't give a shit what type of leftist they are. If they're not pushing for the policies that we need, it doesn't make a difference how left they are by title, their label, whatnot, and stuff like that. They're not doing what we put them to do, right? Which was to be somewhat of that kind of like parallel figure of the Freedom Caucus that made Boehner cry and got their ways and pushed them out. We wanted the same thing on the left. We wanted to see Nancy Pelosi cry. I wanted to see Nancy Pelosi cry and knock stuff
And
over
leave.
and get all mad and walk out and say, I'm not being the speaker anymore because I can't work with these progressives anymore. She didn't do that. Instead, they bowed down to her and stuff. But I mean, what about the argument that they are the only kind of the furthest left allies we have in Congress?
It was well. The truth is, first of all, that's not true. The squad, just for the record, has not supported actual election integrity legislation. So that's first thing. Yeah. They didn't support. No. They ran on the most progressive climate change legislation in history, and then moved on from that to the Green New Deal, which does not ban fracking, does not deal with nuclear energy. It talks about emissions, reducing emissions. But if you know that type of rhetoric, it's a virtue signal. And like, there's a lot of things you can do to quote unquote reduce emissions, but still be bad for the climate and still be bad for the environment. You see in AOC endorsing Kamala's battery legislation that was introduced by a pro-fracking lobbyist who went to Congress with Mike Levin or Zach Levin. Mike Levin. Yeah, and she knows,
endorsed
of course.
by Bernie.
I remember I made a big ass deal about that.
He got shut out of a committee spot too.
Good. So. But like you have UBI when Tulsi introduced it, and this is what's funny about the whole leftist argument. Tulsi introduced it. She was the first one to introduce UBI in Congress. I'm gonna repeat this. She was the first one to introduce UBI in Congress. So I'm gonna repeat it one more time. The first, everybody keeps talking, what about, but this 2000, no. You know why they're introducing it now? Because Tulsi talked about it on the Hill Rising and on Fox News, and also talked about the moratoriums, which is the reason that Trump started considering them. Yeah. And where the hell was AOC at?
Yeah.
Oh, nowhere to be found. Tulsi introduced a bill to end the war in Syria, right? Okay, nowhere to be found. Tulsi introduced a bill to end the war in Afghanistan. Nowhere to be found. Tulsi introduced a bill just a week ago to repeal the Patriot Act. Nowhere to be found. Tulsi just introduced a bill to do a 95 or 90% excess tax on every single corporation that's profited during this pandemic. AOC is nowhere to be found. It's just so crazy to me that this is the most left-wing group in Congress. It isn't just AOC, by the way. I would say the person who's maybe been concurring with her the most is Ilhan, and she got a whole host of problems her damn self.
Oh, yeah.
And but my thing is, y'all, if Tulsi supposedly is crypto-fascist, well, hot damn, what the hell does that make AOC in the squad? Because y'all can't even make back basic.
She's anti-trans.
Right.
Yeah.
So now it's like the focus is only on that bill, which I don't agree with, but I don't think it's anti-trans. I think it's just, I don't think she should have introduced it, period.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm not a woman and I'm not trans. So I have no say. And when you're talking about repealing the Patriot Act, I can guarantee if you ask the average person, that's what they're probably a little bit more concerned with at this moment. Right. You're talking about a 90% excise tax with that money, by the way, would be then reinvested into small businesses.
Yep.
That's probably what everyone is more concerned with. Yeah. And if these are our left-wing allies, then motherfucker, we ain't got no allies in Congress. Yeah. It's basically what we're trying to tell you.
What about the marijuana thing? She spoke on the floor about that.
That's her bill. That's her bill.
That's her bill. She spoke on the floor about that. She made a great speech about that.
Assange,
Snowden, rewriting the Espionage Act where a person could defend themselves. As an Espionage Act, you can't come up and speak at your own hearing. And therefore, they put up a bill where they can, amend. And she went to, what's his name, Ellsberg, to talk about that bill, to get insight about that.
And I want to say, too, which is the important part. So everyone who told y'all to hate Tulsi and everything she did, it's also the same ones that Russia gay like a motherfucker. Also the same ones that bought into the Assad conspiracy theories. Yep. Also the same ones that hate Jimmy. And what a surprise, also the same ones who are against asking the squad to fight Nancy Pelosi for Medicare for All.
And who voted for Biden, who were pushing Joe Biden.
Oh, they also pushed Joe Biden, who's a crypto-fascist. Yeah. Also have not said anything about the fact that all of a sudden the BLM protests and the Antifa protests have disappeared.
Gone.
And Breonna Taylor still hasn't gotten her goddamn justice.
Yeah.
These people, Jacob Blake still hasn't gotten his justice. Yep. This shit didn't. And the fact that the federal government funded the police unit that killed Breonna Taylor, and the fact that Attorney General, who's a Republican, lied about the jury agreeing that that Breonna Taylor's killer should not have been prosecuted. That was a lie. The whole whistleblower story. These neo-progressives don't give a shit. They don't give a damn about nothing. Tulsi, tried to demilitarize the entire policing institution. I'm not saying this because Tulsi introduced it, but what I'm saying is, if you're talking about AOC and the squad are our most left allies in Congress, bro.
You're just a Tulsi sympathy.
By the way, Dirtbag Leftist says Jordan Charlton has integrity.
What? No, he doesn't.
Jordan Charlton. I just want to point out the fact, I think that was...
Is that sarcasm?
Was it, what's her name? Glory Jones, who gave Jordan Charlton that nickname? Or did somebody else that...
No. That was a hard bastard. Yeah, back in the day.
That's before my
Vito
time.
Lewis, thank you very much. You're exactly right, Niko. Even the Paris Climate Accord is just a gigantic Ponzi scheme that encourages you to sell your pollution. Actually, that's true. It's true.
Joke.
Yeah, they keep talking about the Paris Climate Accord, and I've seen some people on Twitter, like, when Biden's like, oh, I'm going to make sure we get back to it. They're like, oh, yay, that's like such a great thing, and they like it. I'm like, so that all it takes is for Joe Biden, and this is my problem with these neo-progressives, all it takes is for Pete Buttigieg, Joe Biden, or one of these fucks to put up a radical tweet, and they're like, oh my God, yay.
Why not vote for the Off Act then? If you were that concerned about
somebody was
worldwide
for it, and then she
climate
wasn't
change,
about it.
well, no, I'm just, even if you're Joe Biden, if you were that much for it, and you care that much about climate change that we have to get into the climate accords, why not vote for literally the best climate legislation ever introduced, not in the fucking country, in the world, people, 400
It was the most
organizations.
realistic. It's actually stuff that could get done. It wasn't like the Green New Deal, which is so much shit that was like, first of all, it was not even, it wasn't even a bill. It wasn't, it was a resolution, right? So it was just nothing. The Off Act was an actual bill that you can put into play and get shit done. And AOC was for it before. Until she ran
on it. She was on that same list before it. By the way, it got taken down, of course, as expected, because so many people. Paula Jean ran on it. AOC, Ilhan Omar, Tim Canova. They were all on that list of people who could potentially win in 2018. Most of the Justice Democrats ran on it. Almost everybody in our revolution ran on it. It was a huge staple in the climate side of the Sanders Institute. The Off Act was and is the standard for climate change legislation. But we got to rejoin the climate accord. But that's weird. How come you want to talk about the fossil fuels act? Oh, because we don't really want to get off of fossil fuels. We don't really want to stop fracking. Oh, actually, fracking is bad. Oh, that's crazy. Because why does the Green New Deal allow it then? If it's that bad.
Joe Biden was for fracking as soon as he won the primary. Well,
no,
as soon
before
as he won the primary, he goes, "I'm not going to ban fracking." Yeah. It was like, wait a second, we got you on tape, you and Kamala saying you're going to ban fracking. Now you're not going to ban fracking and stuff like that.
So and I want to know your opinion about this, because you saw a lot of people use Bernie's brand to hide behind this entire election while literally smearing you, who was a Bernie supporter, not just on camera, was on the ground more than damn near anybody else I know. Like, because Fee and their entire crew was like on the ground working with Tulsa's campaign, Bernie's campaign, local campaigns, then doing their show, then going out and advising people. Like, y'all have no idea how much stuff these people do. And yet, Fiorella, because she's on the ground and actually knows what the hell's going on, was getting smeared. Do y'all really think it's because Fiorella was a Tulsa supporter? Because she was Bernie hard.
Yeah. That's why it's weird to see her getting smashed by some of these people that she was actually in the streets with, that she worked with, that she organized with her. To see them coming after her now, it's like, oh, those are your friends.
It's Queen AOC. I mean, this is,
yes,
let's be real. This is about the deifying of these politicians like AOC. Like, they don't want to be wrong about her, and they make it about Jimmy Dore and her personality and like the anger and all this other shit that has nothing to do with the issue. I have yet to see an argument that convinces me that this is a bad idea. And these people that consider themselves organizers aren't organizing. Like, these people that are criticizing this issue, they're not organizing. They're busy. They're trying to say that this is a bad idea, but it's like, they want to be part of this Democratic establishment, this Democratic Party. And I feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping too in that sense. Like, they don't want to like actually take down the establishment or oppose it. They actually want to be part of this new branded progressivism establishment. And that's what it seems like to me. So there's no good argument. So they've been focused on bad faith attacks on Jimmy, bad faith attacks on people like me, like saying, oh, you're just, you just want clicks. And it's like, look at what gets people clicks. It's the neoliberal, neoprogressives that have the bigger platforms that get the most clicks. That gets you. Who made the most money talking about the Bernie campaign but never once criticizing it? The moment we started talking about election integrity, started criticizing the Bernie campaign, exposing it, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you're being divisive.
Saving it. Don't fuck like after. Literally, Fiorella caught some shit that saved Iowa for Bernie Sanders, and one of the co-chairs, I ain't gonna say who, but it's a woman, what I called because Fiorella's getting attacked. And I'm like, yo, you got to see what's going on in Iowa. And they were able to reconcile it because of Fiorella, who was simultaneously being attacked on Twitter from Bernie campaign people who they didn't know that we had a direct line to somebody who was sitting on Bernie's advising team. They didn't know. They were never going to solve the problem. And Fiorella goes to solve the problem. And instead of being appreciative of her, literally, you know how Fiorella's up all night because she got to solve this damn problem and prepare for a show the next day. Like, Nope, no love. Nope. Actually, no. You're a problem, actually, now.
Yeah.
And the only person I know that thanked her, from the campaign was that chairperson and the person who tipped Fiorella off. And once again, there's so many examples of this over and over and over again.
When we were sitting there and we're like, wait a second, we're like, Fiorella was just there. Why are they doing a coin toss? And we get on the phone. We're like, Fee, they're doing a coin toss. And Fee was like, with Tina.
He broke the first.
Yeah, like, we were just in that room. They had no reason to do a coin toss. They waited for press to leave, for all of us to leave, and then they did the little secret coin toss.
And
they were doing that shit all over the state then.
You were the first. They just happened to be that Fiorella, because I think you were in one of the biggest areas, right?
Yeah, it was. We were in Iowa and Des Moines, I believe. And it was Tina and I, basically, and one other guy who had left to go to because it was like the party, the campaign party. Like we were waiting for the results, and so he left first, and we were the only journalists there that were.
Y'all there late.
Yeah, well, we got there. No, we got there pretty on time.
No, I'm saying y'all stayed late because you wanted to see if anything went down.
And they were like, "No, it's fine." And then all of a sudden, you saw the snake math. You guys saw what they did. The coin tosses everywhere. Like it was fucking.
There was
ridiculous.
no need for that coin toss.
Yeah, and we're like, what the hell? Like, how is this okay? How is this not election fraud? Because election fraud is so broad. It doesn't just include the machines. It doesn't just include the ballots. It also includes voter suppression.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it includes this sort of like manipulation. How did Pete Buttigieg? We saw how many people Bernie Sanders had compared to Pete Buttigieg. There was no way those numbers were accurate. So it was like.
So in Iowa, once again, we broke the shadow app shit, and I've been talking about Iowa and telling people to prepare for what's happening in Iowa for like a year before Iowa happened. And then that night we talked about the Iowa, like literally for like a year before it happened, like, oh, we gotta be on this shit. Fiorella went out there. The first place that tried to do the coin flip, we weren't even on the road for damn 10 minutes before they tried that shit.
It was like, oh, we have our first coin toss. I'm like, wait, that's the girl, because she looked like somebody we knew, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the girl. Johnny's laughing over there because he knows what I'm talking about. I was like, that's the girl. I know. I'm like, Fee, let's get on the phone, Fee. Fee, why are they doing a coin toss? She said Bernie dominated that room. She's like, there was no need for a coin toss. Bernie did dominate the room. Like, they're doing a coin toss. And
they said they were done. That was the worst part.
They literally said they were done with everything. Yeah. All the delegates
and Buttigieg getting an extra delegate.
And so now that sparked. Whoa, hold up. So everybody's put their cameras out now. So not all of the coin toss are being recorded because Fiorella was there. Now, once again, who gets more of it? She damn near gets attacked more than I do and she was literally there for Bernie's campaign. And she gets attacked as a toll cell, which is weirdly ironic, by the way, if some people don't know what words mean. But like more than I do. And she literally out here. What the fuck has TYT ever done for Bernie's campaign except for, remember when Jen just said we're the shout out to Franco, by the way. Go subscribe to Frank Analysis.
Yeah.
Bruh, I don't know what he's done. He's got these damn neo-progressives on their ass right now because they keep responding to him, and I don't know why. But Jen responded to him and said, we're these people that you tagged me with, which included like Anna and Emma and Tim and Pac-Man and shit. Oh, we're the most effective progressives in the movement. We're the most effective progressive leaders in the movement. Mind you, these are the same people who tried to convince y'all for a year. Emma, who attacked Fiorella directly, made a whole video dedicated to Fiorella, but was scared to say her name because she didn't want nobody to go and check out Fiorella because Fiorella know the fuck she's talking about, especially compared to Emma. These people propped up Elizabeth Warren and tried to convince y'all that she was legitimate. And they did successfully convince millions of people that she was legitimate progressive, despite all the facts that we had known about her, that were readily available about her, about how she screwed the indigenous community. If you want to talk about white supremacy, screw the indigenous community. It was on Front Street. You were trending #1 on Twitter, but yet somehow you're one of the last 4 people left in the Democratic primary. That is white supremacy. When you can do some shit like that and then have the white progressive, the white neo-progressives. No, that didn't happen. What are you talking about? That never happened. Yeah, whatever. And then what happened? We see in Maine 15-20% to Warren. Just enough to help Biden beat Bernie. 15-20% in California. Just enough to help Biden beat Bernie. In like Texas, everywhere. And
gives Trump speaking part. He gives him Trump bait. You know something? If Pocahontas didn't drop out there, Joe, you would have won 3 or 4 primaries.
Hey.
It was for Pocahontas. Thank you.
But the most effective, literally, y'all were the opposite of the most effective. You were the most detrimental part of the Bernie movement. You caused the one person that we did a whole show, and actually Fiorella once again was ahead of the game, which we were after KDM. Fiorella, we gotta do a show. We have to talk about Elizabeth Warren. We have to. And we did a whole show where she was like, she is the most dangerous person to this movement. We need to deal with it now. And we kept covering her, and we were attacked for it. Remember the money we covered because there was an article written about it. We were the first people to cover it on camera. We got attacked saying that's a lie, even though it was right there.
Yep.
The people who are trying to help are the ones who keep getting smeared. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say early on we were talking about Elizabeth Warren being a snake, right? Like because she was pretending to be a part, and like in 2015 I was all about Elizabeth Warren. Like I remember I was like, yeah, like I want her to run with Bernie. That would be great. We were super excited. But as soon as we started seeing her sell out and not support him in 2016, we were like, okay, no, she's done. And so when the TYT left, so to speak, started embracing her and vilifying Tulsi Gabbard, I was like, wait a minute, like this doesn't make any sense. Elizabeth Warren is taking this money, like she's being very smart about it, doing it through a separate fund, but she's taking it, and so it's like.
She transferred from a previous campaign.
Exactly that.
From that Senate campaign.
From her Senate campaign, but she was also
getting money,
getting PAC money, but not
Super
through,
PAC. Oh, Super PAC. It was Super PAC money.
It was Super PAC money, but it was also done in a way that was inconspicuous. It wasn't as obvious. Like it would have a different name. And so when I was talking about this, Emma was like, "Oh,
QAnon.
This is left QAnon," and it's like that's what neoliberals do. They literally smear you. They smear the left and say, "Oh, you're helping Trump," right? That's exactly what she was doing early on. And lo and behold, now everybody's saying, "Oh, Elizabeth Warren, she's a snake." Da 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 da. But before. They were like, oh no, this is divisive. We need to unite with Warren and blah, 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 blah. Yep. So it's like, yeah, Niko's right. I mean, he's not boasting.
They're quiet
here.
about that shit right now, huh? It's crazy how quiet they are about Warren now, huh?
Right.
After they helped her sabotage the entire progressive movement.
Right.
After they saw her try to sabotage the entire progressive movement in 2016. They were there.
Yeah.
They were all there.
You got some super chats, baby? Because
we got some super chats.
Fiorella also said that Russiagate is QAnon for wine moms.
Oh, but it's true. 28 days later, what's going on? Thanks for the super chat. What's your take on Josh Hawley out-lefting the stimulus? You must be talking to Pasta. Go ahead, Pasta.
Well, because this is the bond that we need to make. I think this libertarian, anti-establishment, right-wing populists that do really care about our civil liberties, that do care. Look at Josh Hawley just stepped up. He was the one who went with Bernie. Unlikely combination, and it's something that I always love what Tulsi does. Go and find a Republican. So now you got a Republican and a Democrat on a bill together saying, like, look at this, guys. Let's get money for these people together. Not only that, he was like one of the only ones in the Senate committee to go out and call Mark Zuckerberg, with an S, Berg, out for all this. We haven't even talked about this content moderation, right? The way they moderate content. Yeah. Well, supposedly Facebook, Google, Twitter, they're using this one program where they can share content moderation across the board. It's like that one
censorship.
Email,
He's talking about censorship,
so they know who and what to censor. And he called them out. He got a tip from a whistleblower, called him out. So the guy is for civil liberties. He's against censorship. He was looking to get more money to the people. I mean, there are people out there. And I'm not saying we don't have to necessarily make a bond with him or build a bridge, but we have to understand.
We do got to build a bridge. We got to build a bridge, but
I'm going to. I feel that way.
Not a bond. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm working right now with this guy who ran for Senate in California. His name is James Bradley. He ran this time for Congress. He ran against Dianne Feinstein. He finished third. Kevin DeLeon edged him out. He got into the jungle primary against Ted Lieu and he lost and stuff like that. Now he's for civil liberties. He's for election integrity because I put him on the map years ago about this stuff. A couple months ago, we really talked extensively about it. But what he said to me is something that is just like, it just blew my mind. Now, this guy's running as a Republican. He's going to run as a Senate again, right? But he wants to do a special with me on homelessness because he understands homelessness inside and out. You know what he said to me? This is a Republican. He goes, there shouldn't be one homeless person sleeping on the streets, period. This is
the third or fourth largest economy in the world.
Why are you working with white supremacists?
Well, that's what they're going to do.
That's my question.
But that's what James Bradley said to me. He goes, it shouldn't happen in California. It shouldn't happen in the United States. There's an industry on it where people are profiting off other people's misery. He's a Republican, and he wants to show me everything he's got because he wants to end homelessness. Does that sound like a typical Republican to you?
Yeah, that's what I don't care about.
That's what I'm saying. So you got people like Josh Hawley.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I got
answers.
So
as a black man, what do you say when people say, well, you know, you've gotten this too. Oh, Niko's working with white supremacists. They've basically indicated that, like, the whole Uncle Tom trope on you too, like they did with Bree. This is what they do to people of color who actually don't fit the establishment narrative, by the way. Yeah. And so what about to people of color who criticize you and say, why are you working with these people who think you are lesser than they are, who think that you don't have that you shouldn't have equality, that you shouldn't have reparations, who dismiss police brutality, because there's been a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, well, why would we against working with right-wing populists, saying that why would I have to subjugate myself to working with somebody that hates me, right?
Yeah. So first of all, most of these progressives have been working inside of a party that hates them this entire last couple of years.
Shit.
So there's that. But so
shit.
like, you know, I'm saying obviously, but one, they would never in their lives challenge me to my face because they know better. Like these people, I am very open. I will let people with smaller channels come on and debate me on camera. I've gone on smaller channels and like, cause I don't care if people think they're gonna make a name off debating me. Well, I suggest you get another fucking plan, cause you're gonna be embarrassed by the end of the debate. And most people at this point, I think, know that. If you really believe, like I said, at the end of the day, like a person that a lot of people have called a Nazi because he works on OAN was who is the same person who has given me the most fucking energy as far as like, bro, if I'd send him a tweet from Robbie, just because Robbie is with us, he retweets Robbie. Now Robbie is reaching people who are interested in Democratic Party financial corruption that otherwise would have never got that information. And now everybody's building this cohesive case across the damn spectrum against the entire oligarchy, because Jack obviously is also known for calling out Republican nonsense. And so that man is helping get real anti-establishment leftist stories out there. Once again, let me go on and talk about Standing Rock. Not a single one of these fucking neo-progressives have ever let us come on and tell the truth about the shit that we've seen at these protests, because it isn't black and white. It's a little bit more gray than what people think. And yet I'm supposed to dislike him? That's weird, because Jack has never called me an e-gangster. Jack has never said the N-word on camera. Like these people who supposedly hate me treat me with more dignity and more respect. And this ain't that Candace Owens shit, because if you know me, I'm roasting anybody, and I'm going against, if I disagree with you, I have zero problem telling you right then and there. And I've been I was at a conference where I sat on a table full of conservatives where they're listening to my experiences, and it's completely changing their mind on police brutality. It's completely changing their mind on defund the police, because I'm like, they're like, well, what about retraining? I'm like, you have to ask yourself, do you really think these people want to be retrained? I'm like, because if you just do retraining, who's still the police chief? All the police chiefs across the country get fired. I'm like, do we all agree that racism exists? I'm like, yeah. I was like, do you think racists don't have kids? I'm like, 70% of people get their political views from their parents until at least later on in their life. So if part of the political view is racism. So these people grow up, they go to college, they become lawyers, they become doctors, they become police officers, they become judges, they become CEOs. And they already have these preconceived notions based off their background. And they're listening to me just go in for 2-3 hours straight with barely saying a word, like taking it all in. Like, what the they never heard these arguments, because the moment that they disagree with the leftists, oh, they're racist. They're fascist.
Right.
I'm like, and I'm listening to their rationale first before I judge. And I don't go to any conversation judging anybody anymore. But I'm listening to their rationality, and I'm like, oh, y'all just don't understand, because y'all have different experiences. And so then they start recalling little instances here and there that they might have pushed to the back of their mind, where well, you know what, there was this one time. And oh, you know what, there was this one. Nah, think about it. And so then they start connecting the dots. And then after a while, like I said, you see a situation like Breonna Taylor, that's indisputable what took place there. Capitalism killed Breonna Taylor. This government killed Breonna Taylor. The corrupt policing institution killed Breonna Taylor. This housing crisis, the gentrification killed Breonna Taylor. And that is indisputable. And the only way that these people who disagree with me on maybe some issues that are really inconsequential, because it's a state and city issue anyway, and we'll figure it out, I guess, based on, if you want to go fight for that issue, go to City Hall and fight your ass for that issue. But like the Patriot Act, election integrity, corrupt policing, and just the way it's all funded, the military-industrial complex, these are issues that we all generally agree on. And so I can't, if these people do seem lesser, I can't convince them otherwise unless I'm in the room with them, like Fred Hampton did. Fred Hampton, who convinced a literal group of white supremacists to stop being racist, bro. They stopped caring. So the Black Panthers actually accepted the Confederate flag. They were like, you know what? To you all, it seems to mean something else than what we thought. Fred Hampton convinced the Black Panthers to say, you know what? We're going to respect y'all, because y'all respected us in our Black Power fists and respected our fight. And they were like, hold up. So we're not racist? Well, yeah, it's still racist, but like, I understand. I'm listening to your experiences. They got along so well. Those white supremacists stopped being white supremacists. That is almost immediately before Fred Hampton was killed.
Oh, yeah, yes, sir.
21 years old.
Yeah.
because he went to the other side and said, you've been told lies about me, I've been told lies about you, let's figure this shit out together and figure out and fight the real enemy. And that is the most dangerous thing to the establishment.
That's when they kill you.
Because that's Malcolm X started getting close to that conclusion. Martin Luther King obviously started the Rainbow Coalition, wanted to be part of the Rainbow Coalition as well. Poor People's Campaign. Martin Luther King argued for UBI. Martin Luther King, damn near, I feel like there was more white people at the Million Man March than black people. Like, this is why they kill you, not because you're conservative. They don't kill you when you're a Democrat. They kill you when you're neither. Yeah. And that is, so if you want, cool. If somebody wants to think lesser than me, I have enough confidence and I'm secure enough in myself that I can go make the argument with the understanding that, like, I have confidence in me, I have the experience and I have the knowledge, and I can articulate why you should not be, whatever your preconceived notions are about me, that's not real. And whatever these people saying about you, I know that's not your heart. Because I've seen some people that you would think are racist as shit if you just talk to them maybe on Twitter or something like that. Then you get to know them and you find they're just broken. Yeah. And they need a scapegoat. And they can't blame, when you're raising this in a certain type of privilege, you can't blame yourself. Because then you're going to be like, damn, man, and I have every advantage. And I still can't. No, it's not you. It's this fucking system. It takes advantage of all of our disadvantages, even if it's like just not being born in the right family. So let me.
And by the way, at the White Guy Club, we call it OAN, not Owen.
Oh my God.
So just let you know.
My bad. Let me.
I'll let everybody know. Niko's saying OAN now because they said something.
Let me go ahead.
What up, Todd Jones? Love you.
Vito Lewis. Just for the record, Dominion wasn't on any progressive radar in 2016 when they purged us from the voter registration in Brooklyn. That's actually was my very first viral video was me talking about this in Brooklyn.
Go look it up. Every single one of those things, ESNS, Dominion, Smartmatic, they all have the same feature. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
I'm gonna tell y'all, because a lot of y'all new to this channel, bro, if you go look up basically any issue, there's probably a video of us somewhere speaking at an event, speaking at like, where were you at, Fee? Were you waiting 8 or 9 hours to speak?
Oh, the Board of Supervisors.
Board of Supervisors in LA.
You got Pasta literally damn near cussing out Pete Buttigieg for asking him to back Assange, where the security guard comes and grabs Pasta, and somehow Pasta gets their supervisor to grab them. Hey, that was weird. I don't know what happened, but Pasta's our designated white man. But Pasta gets going viral because of that. And of course, like I said, I was at the board. I went in on them. That was actually my very first like viral video, quote unquote. Well, I just technically my second. But like people who didn't know me from politics only knew me from that. Like when I tell you this has been an issue we've been talking about for 4 years, that is not hyperbole, but many of you have not known about it because we're called every name under the sun, so you never ask questions. Like for when we're talking about this healthcare conversation, everybody want to talk about Medicare for all. I'm gonna tell you this, like, and this is no smoke to anybody who's supporting it, but like it can't be Bernie's bill. Actually, because Bernie's bill allows you to opt out of the Medicare system, and that was like kind of that's Amy Klobuchar and Kirsten Gillibrand working on that bill with them. So now you're starting to put 2 and 2 together. It was kind of expected.
But Tulsi Gabbard never supported single payer.
Exactly, except for her plans called single payer plus. Exactly, and she also knew these holes, right? Bernie still allowed for private insurance and for-profit insurance, even though it's supplementary and supposedly non-duplicative. If I can remove myself from the Medicare system, not have to pay into Medicare or Medicare for all, and also I can now start getting my for-profit, working with these for-profit insurance companies, which by the way, they'd be incentivized to do, since Medicare for all in its current form also doesn't deal with doctors and nursing shortages. So they would be more incentivized to leave that and like get paid more to do the services, but have less of a burden on their staff. Things that didn't get taken care of in Medicare for all, which is why Tulsi introduced single payer plus, or was going to introduce single payer plus. Unfortunately, COVID kind of stopped that, like, because it was being flushed out. But like everything that was lacking in Medicare for all, single payer plus had. Now, instead, and how I know all this is because I worked in the medical insurance industry, and I'm also the only YouTuber that's worked in the medical insurance industry. And so whenever it was time for everyone to come and smear Tulsi because she said Medicare choice, which is a dumb choice of words, I must admit, but she also didn't really. she had no idea the power of words at that point, I think, like, and how cultish with the left and how cultish the left can be. So
that's what the left is all about. They're all about buzzwords and little bumper stickers. They're not about actual nuanced policy.
Yeah, and remember when Bernie like kind of like low-key exposed himself on camera because he was like, we're going to because the whole middle ground thing was about Medicare for all, where he was claiming there was no private insurance in his plan.
And then he said no.
Then he was like, oh, my bad. Actually, there is. And then the goalposts moved. Now, nobody got mad at him for that, but everybody got mad at Tulsi for basically suggesting the same thing, except for Bernie's, once again, allowed for for-profit insurance. Tulsi's was making it so for-profit insurance companies would be completely banned, and only non-profit insurance companies and a new non-profit structure specifically for them would be replaced. So now you're not even, and everybody, no matter what, would have to pay into the single-payer system. So these are all the nuanced discussions that our experiences have allowed us to have, but no one wants to have them with us on camera because they know we have the experience to have these conversations. And I would say that even Jimmy, to a large degree, because now he has had so many different people on that, like, you can't go toe to toe with Jimmy, like, and think that you're going to be able to beat him when all your talking points came from Twitter.
Yeah, and I just want to point out too that when it comes to healthcare, Medicare for all is just one version of a single payer system. Like, people were obsessed with, oh, if it's not named Medicare for all, I don't want it. It's like, no. It's a type of single payer. You can have multiple types of single payer. So that was a point Niko and others were trying to make. Like, it doesn't have to be called that to actually be healthcare for all. You can call it Medicare for all, single payer, universal healthcare. It's still getting the for-profit insurance system and big pharma out of the room. That was the whole point of it. But there was different variations too, depending on which country you live in. Mm-hmm. So the way people were looking at it was like, no, it's just this one. And it was a very surface look. It was just the name. They weren't looking at like what Australia had and like the different types of single payer or nationalized healthcare that you could have. So
and still with these programs, they were married to Western medicine, so you couldn't get acupuncture, massage, or herbs from the Chinese in that Medicare.
But single payer plus, you could. We had a designation for like $10,000 a year where you could go get any type of alternative medicine.
Exactly,
that you might
that is important.
So it's not just like, you know, I'm a fucking weirdo yogi, I'm like an orb dad. I get it, but like people have different cultures. And people forget that culture plays a part in how you take care of your body. And so not everything is covered by healthcare.
Exactly.
And like at least current healthcare. Like chiropractic, for example, is for the most part not covered, but a lot of people go faithfully and have to pay out of pocket. It took a lot for TRICARE to start covering chiropractic, and you still have to pay a little bit out of pocket. So like these are, I mean, when I tell you we were accounting for everything in Single Payer Plus, because this once again, if you've read Tulsi's Off Act, this isn't surprising or new. So
and Dennis Kucinich was in her corner.
And Dennis Kucinich, who was the original Medicare for all.
Remember, the public option wasn't included in the Obamacare, and he was putting his foot down. Obama had to put him on a plane, fly him on Air Force One, try to convince him. He was so pissed off. He goes, I'm not voting for this unless you include the public option.
Because he had a bill already. Yeah. He had a bill. World Traveler 198, AOC says she's not ready for speakership. We didn't ask her to run for speaker.
Yeah.
Did you?
Like
Barbara Lee.
Yeah, Barbara Lee could.
Literally anybody else. Like, run anybody else. It doesn't automatically, that argument, oh, you're giving it to the GOP, that argument Cenk made today. That's complete bullshit. And everybody is listening to these people. When David Serrata made that argument, when Cenk Uygur, they regurgitate the same exact thing. And I know, because I've read all the fucking articles, I've seen all the tweets, I know when you're using that trope with me. It's completely false. It goes to a vote. They need 218 votes. And that's it. Like, it's not automatically going to be Kevin McCarthy. Like, you're full of shit if you're saying that.
It's, no. It's not automatically going to be. It will never be Kevin McCarthy. And it's funny because they always, Jimmy doesn't, we need somebody with political experience. Yeah. Y'all can't even get the vote, like what it takes to be speaker, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And I don't want Adam Schiff to be the speaker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's really what it comes.
For brains.
And I feel like we can all agree that like the elitism obviously trickles into how they treat other media as well. Yeah. Like, they want to have people on the show. It isn't just about the quote-unquote blue check mark. I know that's an important part of it, but like it's also like who looks better when I retweet them? Who can I get more from when I retweet them? Who looks more professional? And when I say looks, I do mean looks, because if you go down these people's fucking timeline, they don't know shit. You watch their videos, they don't know shit. These people are ideologically inconsistent. They have no experience, and yet these are the same ones they'll bring on the show to just recur. Once again, Ben Dixon basically insinuating that Bree is an Uncle Tom for going on Jimmy Dore's show. It's funny because we're still waiting, bro. Still waiting on him to say the exact same thing about Dr. Cornel West because he went on the show the next damn day and made the same damn argument. But he won't do that because Cornel, he's Dr. West seasoned, he experienced, and he commands the respect of the entire progressive movement. What Ben didn't realize for some reason that, Bree also commands the respect of the entire progressive movement. And so when he's feeling the flames now, woo, that boy, he got towed. He's still getting towed up on Twitter. He never returned from that. But people, MSNBC had him on. Oh man, well I guess TYT should have him on too because he's an upstanding professional black man, and so it's a little bit different. Even though Ben literally has no political experience.
He was projecting, is what he was doing. Let's be real.
Because out of the two,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Out of the two, bro, you be sucking the shit out of Sam Cedar's dick, and you worried about Bree going on Jimmy's show to make the same argument that Dr. West made on Jimmy's show, to make the same argument that I made when Jimmy came on my show, the same argument that Fee and Pasta made. So everybody's wrong, and we've actually made arguments on the merit, but you're right because Jimmy's a white supremacist and Bree's an Uncle Tom? Come on, bro.
Exactly.
These people don't value experience. In fact, like I said, these neo-progressives work to crush especially minorities with experience. Once again, Ice Cube was proven right. Yeah. And he was smeared beyond belief. Immediately, he was a Trump supporter because and here's the difference. Lil Wayne came out and endorsed Trump. It was a thing for a day, maybe. Nobody interviewed him. Nobody brought him on because he wasn't a problem. He gonna hurt himself more than anybody for endorsing Trump. Ice Cube said both of the parties are the problem. Both of these parties are lying. Democrats didn't even answer the phone when I called them about a black. Oh, no. So now we got to bring him on just so we can paint him as a Trump supporter because we need to be able to create that dichotomy because he hasn't been he won't put himself into a box, so we have to put him there. That's funny. And that is what because his experiences, like obviously Ice Cube has his like NWA experiences, which probably were unique in and of themselves. But then as he began to educate himself, it was like, hold up, something ain't adding up. And they try to crush you before you can use your platform. Shout out to Ice Cube. He retweeted the video I did about him. And I appreciate that because a lot of people came to the channel because of that and started to realize that's when a lot of people realized there were other black leftists. They didn't even know because we get shut out. We get shut out on a regular basis unless we have a blue check or older or been in politics like as a politician. So let me go ahead and get through the rest of these super chats. Democracy. Oh shit, it's funny enough. You see Ben Dixon called Jimmy to meet one-on-one. First of all, I'm going to tell, and Graham already said this too, and I am actually 100% in Graham's corner here. If Ben really wanted to step to Jimmy like that, I would knock Ben the fuck out, bro. Like, Ben ain't shit. Ben is literally trying to, like, Ben, if you've been watching Jimmy's show, which clearly he's been on Jimmy's dick this entire time watching his show, Jimmy has health. He's healthy sometimes, and he's unhealthy or not the healthiest other times because of everything that he's been through. Because he's not of the 1%. He might be close to it now, but that's not where and still health insurance is an issue, which is even crazier. It's even crazier. But Ben stepped into Jimmy because Jimmy's older. Okay, Jimmy has a platform, and Jimmy wouldn't. He would never do anything like that. Actually. I don't know, because he's ready to beat Alex Jones' ass at the Republican convention. That's neither here nor there. So maybe he is. But I'm telling you, if you talking about some, Jimmy, you know where to find me? Ben, you know where to find me, ho. I'm in 305. Okay? Everybody want to be here anyway. Come down here. We can have a one-on-one conversation if that's what you want to do. Because I'm tired of these motherfucking progressives. Because there's another one that tried to act hard too until he saw me in person for the first time. For those of you who do not know, I am 6'1", 200 pounds. I am not to be fucked with. I am not from the place that these motherfuckers is from. And if you want to try to play that game where people, because you can't win the arguments on their merits, you want to try to intimidate somebody from their position. Oh, I can play that game too. I try to be civil. My mom and my second mom be telling me, Niko, calm down. And I try to be civil. I've been very Pasta too. Pasta, he taught me a lot about debate, and it had nothing to do with debate. He was telling me, hey man, you gotta calm yourself down. And I try to do that. But the game I don't play is people fucking with my team or fucking with the fam, and then you trying to use your platform to intimidate to get what you want, because that's exactly what the neo-progressives do. That's exactly what these neocons do. That's exactly what these neoliberals do. What makes you any different? Because you're not. So if Ben wants to play that game, I'm just saying, bro, like, come on, dog. Because the way you was talking to Bree that night, Lord, baby Jesus, I almost went to find you.
I want to play that game.
I almost went to find you. Because that girl's been nothing but too nice to you. But has helped boost you during that. You remember because you was kissing Elizabeth Warren's ass, and a lot of people didn't know who the fuck you were because you were lame and your takes were boring as shit. And so
saw the grifting.
And he started the Bernie grift because that Bernie grift is real lucrative. That that Bernie gravy train is real, y'all. And so then that's the first time a lot of people actually acknowledged his presence. And then even though Bree was nice to him, even though Bree has never said a negative word about Ben, yet Ben decided to smear her in the worst possible way. These are the type of people that we're dealing with because it's not about Medicare for all. It's not about policies. It was always about their brand and building it up. And then after Bree went on my show, like immediately tags her on Twitter. I stand by every word I said, and I'm willing to go on your show to talk about it if you want. I bet you are talking to Bree. I bet you are. Yeah. So bullshit. Gabriel Ramirez, thank you very much.
Gabriel Ramirez, fam.
Oh shit, that's
we love you.
With y'all? Oh, okay, word. Hello, this is my first time watching this show. All I gotta say is I love this effing show. Hello to the Convo Couch, love and respect. Hey, appreciate you. Pop reality. Jank from the get-go set Warren up as a progressive that was okay to be in the primary was with Bernie while screaming she's a capitalist. And I love Kyle, but he's silent on Jane in the TYT grift. No, to be, he's not as talkative as I would like him to be, even though he's probably been a little bit more so going against them like over the last couple of days because they're starting to even attack him for being, even though Kyle, you know how Kyle can be very, let's call it objective. Let's just call it that.
Sucks on all that.
Some people call it fence sitting, and it's okay. You know, I feel you. But over the last couple of days, he's been pretty reasonable and nice. He literally asked David Sorolla, "Hey man, what's your position?" you know, on this issue. And he was like, "Because your article versus your words are two different." Oh my God, Jimmy doctored that video. We're like, whoa, and he called him a fucking asshole or some shit like that. We're like, hold up, and literally I was confused because like me.
You said that Jimmy doctored the video.
I swear. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he said
that. Did he play it live?
He deleted the tweet.
It was a lie. He deleted the tweet because it was a lie. Yeah. Because he didn't realize, you know, Jimmy ain't doctoring shit. He had you on and was proven right. If anything, Jimmy gonna make the video extra long to make sure everybody knows that he was right. And that's exactly what he did. Because David Sorolla went on it and disagreed with Jimmy. Then he came back on, pretending like he didn't do it. Jimmy played the video back, and it was true. Yeah. But Kyle hadn't seen any video. He was actually referring to his article and said, "I actually like the article and I like the ideas you present here." So like, but what is your stance? Because you seem to, because he's trying to get a focus on what his stance is, bro. Sorolla flipped on him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro. Like it's crazy to me.
Kyle gotta get better on election integrity though too.
He does. The entire progressive movement needs to get better on election.
Yeah, you got like this. Like nobody's on this one shit and stuff. Ben Swan though.
Yeah, Ben Swine's on a different level. Y'all gotta go watch him.
That's fine.
Pop rally, a tangible third party is forming and people feel it. Yeah, hopefully. But it ain't gonna matter if they don't deal with election integrity.
Yep.
Vito, he said Vito Lewis said I read his last super chat wrong. He said I said it was on the radar, like Dominion was on the radar of progressives because they used Dominion to cheat Bernie in 2016. Yeah, they did use Dominion and ESNS to cheat Bernie in 2016.
ESNS has had more problems than Dominion. In fact, Dominion has a lot more programs out there for election integrity, for auditing their elections than any of the systems. It's just that the legislation or the governor or the secretary of state or secretary of elections doesn't tap into those actual those actual audits. They have systems in there. Yeah, they and a lot of people I know, like I got a friend of mine who's a salesman for Dominion, talks about it all the time. He goes, they never use these programs.
What? $10 million to Pakistan for gender programs and new COVID bill?
No.
What?
Don't say
also
that.
Also sets aside money to investigate the 1908 Springfield race riot. Who does this? What? Bruh. I bet they want to investigate that Wall Street
We
shit.
better look at this bill.
Yeah, I mean, it's if they load that shit up because it's going to take a while. Okay? Donnie Nunn, thank you very much for the super chat.
Donnie Nunn.
Hey, hello, nice to see you all together. Just wanted to let you know about the new driver cooperative rideshare app in NYC to counter Uber. I have heard about that. They literally is a co-op, which thank God because there should have been one. They basically got a monopoly, especially because they merged with the taxi companies because taxi companies have so much power there that eventually had to do it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out because the taxi companies were able to pay off in New York to basically force Uber to have limits and then merge with them, and then the taxi companies can double dip. They can have their own like taxi service and be connected to Uber. So that's going to be interesting to see. It's in these times, driver cooperative Uber Lyft. So he posted a link to that for anybody who is curious. And J9 Campbell, forced to vote. Thank you all for what you do. Natural Progressive, appreciate the super PAC. World Travel, super PACs. No super PACs. Super chat. World Traveler, that was my point. She's not ready, quote unquote. It shows how AOC thinks she is deserving of speakership. She's more worried about herself. No. Oh, AOC thinks she thinks she's gonna be the next president.
She want to be president. Yeah.
She wanted to be.
Never going to happen.
Yeah, that's done.
Never going to happen.
That's done. That's done.
Done.
Like, people don't believe what you see on Facebook.
Never gonna happen.
Don't believe what you see on
That's why those people are so pissed off, all those little neo-progressives, because they think that we're ruining, or Jiminy's ruining her chance to be the president, and people like us who echo the sentiment, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, we're only doing what she said she would do. Right? We're forcing her hand for once. How many times before we said it's always been AOC that's been the keeper of the gate? That if these people really cared, they could put a standalone bill, Ilhan Omar's bill, right? I got to go over, but it's 5 pages on rent relief and mortgage relief. Why not just say, call a press conference, we want this on the floor, and we're going to show up and protest at your house, Nancy Pelosi, until you put it on the floor. This is about people who are going to be thrown out of their house in 2 months.
Yep.
Nothing. But they don't want to do that. They just want to put it out there so they can virtue signal, and then they can campaign off it, or they can write tweets on it.
Remember,
they're not serious about it.
These people, when I tell you they know nothing about policy, every time if it's, especially for something major, bruh, there's almost nobody else that digs into bills. Almost nobody else. And yeah, it's boring. Like, I dug into the Facebook shit the other day. It's boring. It's not the fun stuff. Pasta will literally sit here for 9 hours and watch hearings. I could never.
Fucking hearings, man.
You know, Fiorella digs into bills and stuff like that, and then she'll damn sure dig into your Twitter, so you better be careful, because Fiorella will catch you. Johnny Diggs, he just does like these wormhole goddamn, like, it's a rabbit hole, excuse me. Like, we do the boring shit, okay, but it's necessary. But we know that these people can't talk about policy in any substantive way. Their brands have been based almost solely and completely off of riding Bernie Sanders'
and reactionary politics, which is ironic, because they say that Dore is reactionary. They say that we are there's no nuance. We're literally so nuanced that it's annoying to them, because it's like automatically like we'll say, oh, Trump did a good thing, and it's like, oh, like you can't do that, right? And it's like it's this thing where they hate leftists who are more independent thinkers, because it doesn't fit the agenda of having to be so echo chamber driven. Right?
It threatens the grift. Basically, if we oust, like, and it basically it's done, because this isn't going to be forgot about, because she got fucked up in the era of Twitter responding to an LA Charger. Like, it's done. She got caught. She's making excuses. It's over, and she knows it's over. Like, at the end, and it's crazy because, like, I've made all these posts about AOC. Y'all remember whenever I used to first talk about AOC, oh my God, it's because you like Tulsi. It's because you're working with Tulsi. Because you love Tulsi. Tulsi. But Bernie. Oh, where everybody at? I'm confused. I mean, you say the same thing about Elizabeth Warren, right? And of course, that got killed the moment that she smeared Bernie. And then AOC, they were holding on to hope. And listen, it was nothing personal. I never even said we had to cancel her. But like, I'm like, are y'all not watching?
I'm not even saying that now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even saying that now. If she actually, I'm praying she proves us wrong.
Yeah.
Praying.
Please.
She's not gonna.
Highly unlikely, but
she's not gonna.
Praying.
She had a chance.
But this woman just raised $18 million when running on one of the main policies that is Medicare for all. Right. And she's telling you straight to your face, it's not the right time to fight for. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I've been gaslighting you, telling you this is life or death. Like, every single day.
On Twitter.
On Twitter.
Yeah.
And the moment that I have a chance to put pedal to the metal, nah, I don't think. No. Then why did you just raise $18 million? What do you got this website, this private website, for selling $56 damn sweatshirts talking about Medicare for all and be courageous and all this bullshit? Like, what's all that about then? Oh, it's a brand. That's exactly what. And now these people need AOC to be intact by 2024, because they won't tell you, but I'm gonna tell y'all, this progressive independent YouTube wave, it does come in cycles, and for these people, they've built their wave once again off of other people's brands, not covering policy. Jimmy is the first that kind of diverged from that path with a big channel, and it got big from diverging from that path. And there are other people who will now have a lane because of people like Jimmy, and they don't like that shit, because now they gotta do work. They gotta be honest.
I think the lack of nuance, too, on the election integrity stuff has really exposed a lot of stuff. It really has been disappointing seeing some people out there. I mean, not mentioning any names, Mike Tracy, or Aaron Matei, who was like, I like these guys, but these guys are just like, wow. It's like, I understand that you have a wheelhouse and stuff that you talk about, but your lack of nuance and knowledge of what goes on, we're reading contracts, and big ups to Johnny, by the way, because Johnny has the record. We were talking about all these people doing all this stuff. Johnny's got the record. He's been thrown out of 2 audits to my 1. I got thrown out of an audit right around the corner from over here. When they illegally threw us out of the room, me and Johnny were together. They were almost pushing us out and stuff.
I got thrown out of what's call it too? What voter?
The people's audit
polling location.
Polling location. Well, Johnny's been thrown out of 2 audits. He got thrown out of the LA audit too, not too long ago too as well. So that just shows you we start sticking our nose where it doesn't belong. They throw us out because we want to get the right information on this stuff and the nuance of these elections. And it's so important, like we talk about, to get this shit straight. To see some of the smartest leftist YouTubers talk about this stuff. I mean, it's just it's sad.
They're mocking it still, even now. Like,
minimizing and
mocking mocking me, like, oh, she believes Trump was cheated, haha, like weird flex. I'm like, the fact that you think Biden won 9 million more votes than Barack Obama.
10 now. It's up to 10 million more.
Sorry,
it was crazy when it was 2 million.
Yeah, it was crazy when it was within a million.
Are you daft? Like, seriously?
Yeah, like
I couldn't fill the living room, but
yeah, came for the living room. Also, you didn't like Trump improved in every other demographic.
Right.
Y'all lost seats in the House. Y'all lost seats in the Senate. Y'all lost mayoral elections. Y'all lost gubernatorial elections. Y'all have lost in every single way.
Except for the presidency.
But the presidency.
Yeah.
And yet you somehow won the popular
And now
vote.
you can't talk about it. And now you can't.
You can't question it.
You could question
If
it.
you question it, you're a Trumper. And let me tell you something. We saw all this stuff before the election coming, just like we saw in California before the election. We're like, all right, they're setting up all these rules. They're putting everything in place for them to cheat. They're setting themselves up to cheat. And, we just thought maybe like they wouldn't have the juice to overwhelm the electorate. And they didn't. That's why when we did our last guest that night with Jimmy Dore, we were talking that Trump had probably won because he ran out of real estate. And then in the middle of the night,
literally,
here come these drops. And people that are like, well, that makes sense because it's more mail-in ballots. It's like, you don't even know that historically mail-in ballots favored conservatives. Yeah. And more mail-in ballots were requested in Wisconsin by conservatives. So what are you talking about? This just comes into the blue out of the middle of the night. We're 138,000 votes for one guy and 0 from the other, which is a beyond mathematical improbability. Yep. And they say, well, it's just illogically because Chris Cuomo said that mail-ins favor Democrats.
And that's a lie.
They don't. You guys don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, at least historically, until absentee ballots started, once again, the Democrat establishment, they couldn't beat us in states where paper ballots were being mandated. So they had to start using absentee ballots where we could get cut off from the chain of custody. That's what they do. Also, Georgia is and they've been using that narrative too, right? They're like, oh, no, they count them all at once. So they wait. No. Georgia was one of the only states where that was the case. In every other state, they don't count all the mail-in ballots that get turned in for early voting at once. That is ludicrous. Yeah. You would literally not get shit done by the end of the night, especially on the West Coast where they're trying to get the results early. Yeah. That's not how it works. You know how we know it's not how it works? Because they've tracked down mail-in ballots before.
Yes. Weeks before the election, they had already processed the majority of the mail-in ballots. So how are you going to tell me they get counted last? And everybody was part of the game, even dummy Bernie Sanders, who was able to sit there and start saying, what you're going to see is that the votes come in, and then Trump is going to be ahead. But then, oh my God, late at night,
that was heartbreaking.
The extra mail-ins come in, and he's saying this to Jimmy Fallon, who won't push back. And then you're going to see Biden overtake it. But, that is if he was within 10,000, maybe 15,000. If it was 20,000, I would have been like, no, this guy was hundreds of thousands of votes behind Biden. And all of a sudden they come walking in the middle of the night, or they're pulled out from underneath the table because of a water pipe. This is bullshit. And you get arguments. Aside from the mathematical anomalies, show me how Trump was cheated.
Aside from the one thing that every other country uses to measure election integrity, show me how Trump was cheated.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you can't get access to the proprietary software without literally millions of dollars to start a lawsuit, which is that's absurd because it's our money that funds these elections. In case you didn't know,
somebody won a case. Somebody won a case. Raji. Yeah. Because that's all we're fighting for. This is our data. Ladies and gentlemen, you own this data from every single election. 22 months after the election, but they can destroy Brenda Snipes right around the corner.
Brenda Snipes?
They can just destroy it. Nothing happens. That's against federal law.
Brenda Snipes
it's our data.
Oh, we gotta tell people this because some people, once again, might not know this because Tim Canova's been smeared. Tim Canova fought for election integrity because Tim Canova had 10,000 or 12,000 ballots destroyed when he was in 2% margin.
Yeah.
Roughly the amount that Debbie Weitzman Schultz beat him by is how many ballots were destroyed. Now, Brenda Snipes, because of her behavior in the 2018 election where we caught her once again, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time and got a bunch of camera footage of them fucking carrying out ballots in their personal vehicles. I know, it's just really coincidence. It's almost like we're not at the right place at the right time by coincidence. It's almost like we're always putting ourselves there. It's probably it. And guess what? Brenda Snipes was fired. She was one of 3 election supervisors in Florida that got fired for election rigging.
Yeah. And how long did it take to even get that? How long did it take to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing, but they finally fired her? She got fired like the 3rd time.
Because she fucked around with a Republican. And that's when, all of a sudden, the other Republicans started paying attention. And Ron DeSantis, who, for all the problems I have with him, he is good at holding people accountable out here. And he is good specifically of holding Democrats accountable. And at least that's one thing you would hope that a Republican was good at, which Rick Scott, of course, was playing the same game as them.
He might run for president.
I know he is.
DeSantis.
If he gets Trump, if Trump backs him, he's going to win too. Yeah. Nelson Galvin, if AOC and the squad don't pressure... I know, but it's like
certain areas, yeah.
But if AOC and the squad don't pressure Pelosi on Medicare for all, what's the plan after that? That's what we have to figure out when it comes. But first things first is accountability. And then you can come up with a plan not based in some fan fiction of somebody who's clearly shown to be a duplicitous snake. Reeve Barker. Jayapal on MSNBC says 600 is enough. Yeah, we know how Jayapal moves. Mitch Osborne, AOC responded to Justin Jackson. Mitch, shout out to Mitch. And ignored Jimmy is because she thought he wouldn't understand as much as he does. She found out the hard way. P.S. Shout out to Justin for sticking his neck out as a professional athlete. We need more of him. Absolutely. Seaman Staines. Fear of the dictatorship of the jag-off proletariat. I like that.
Seaman Staines. What kind of name is that?
Somebody who clearly gets it in. I feel it.
Damn.
Message retracted. Philip, I appreciate the super chat. Message retracted. So really quick before we go, do y'all have any finishing remarks?
No, just stop watching these neo-progressive channels and get with the real people doing the underground work, the independent media that will give you actual nuanced views that aren't just necessarily gonna, pine on something because it fits their narrative or it gets some clicks. It's so funny. These arguments are used against us, but it's like, that's exactly what we don't do. Otherwise we wouldn't be covering election integrity. It's literally the loneliest spot.
Yeah.
The loneliest thing to be covering, aside from like
it's boring
Assange.
too.
Because Assange is that too. That's why we've made so much friends with these people. And by the way, there's a sit-in, Jackson Hinkle, in DC from the 2nd to the 4th of January. Mm-hmm. We're going to try to go to that. We're excited. Yeah, to force a vote to ensure that AOC actually is held accountable by these people, right? I want to see people shut that down, because people were saying, well, Jimmy doesn't organize anything. Well, it's like, he's not an organizer. One, he's putting it out there for you to do, and people are doing something. So don't say that Medicare for all activists aren't organizing under this idea, because that's false.
Same time, before I let you go, also, Assange activists are going to be there at the exact same time fighting.
And there's a coalition.
There's a Trump thing too as well. There's a bunch of shit like
for real?
another Stop the Steal thing.
Well,
so it's got a bunch of things going on.
So my thing is, really quick, how many Sam Teeter and TYT, because they keep talking about no organizing, y'all not organizing, okay, so the people organizing, when are you going to cover it? Because Jack, for him being brave enough to do this, bro, y'all understand, AOC is low-key, like, she's weird because, like, she's kind of stupid and she doesn't realize, like, working with the establishment isn't going to help her. But the neoliberal, like, media, they love her for the same reason they love Trump. She's a firebrand, and anything she says is instantly viral. If they said this kid is literally planning a sit-in, like, right after Jimmy started this referendum, like, so somebody was that inspired to put their neck out on the line with almost no following and is getting it steadily as he goes. I'm going on his show on Wednesday. Why wouldn't you talk about that if you want Medicare for all? Yeah. Y'all were bragging about AOC sitting in on Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, crickets on that.
Yeah.
So. Go ahead, Pasta.
I was going to say, send a shout out to the Seattle fams out there, the Roar Media. They're actually the what do you call them? The berets, the Medicare for All berets. Mm-hmm. Those are the real people. They're down behind this. They want to force the vote, so that's great for them. A big ups to Meltel Narachne and Carlos Marroquin for the activism work they do in LA, Shower Hope and all that stuff, and all those other activists who really do the real work. People like Melissa Michelson, shout out to her too as well for always keeping it up and getting people together, organizing the room.
She's a force to vote too.
Yeah, she's a force to vote person too as well, and she's one to go give those establishment heads a taste of their own medicine by always holding them accountable and exposing their bullshit. So shout out to her.
Absolutely. And I want to say this before we go. all these people that are telling you don't have any hope unless you have a backup plan for your backup plan for your backup plan, bro, you gotta start somewhere. And as a person who was against the impeachment, not because Trump didn't deserve to be impeached, but because they were impeaching him on false grounds on purpose, to distract from the fact that Biden was actually guilty of exactly what they accused Trump of. I remember these Democratic congresswomen who were avidly saying, we gotta force impeachment. Why? It's not gonna pass in the Senate. It's the principle.
Yeah,
it's the principle. Please. We gotta vote. But you know it's dead on arrival. It's the principle. You gotta vote. It's dead on arrival. Well, we gotta expose the Republicans who are gonna support him. It's the principle. Well, fuck Tulsi for abstaining. How dare she, even though she knew this was bullshit, and actually introduce a censorship legislation that called out every individual thing Donald Trump did that was worth impeachment, and they didn't want to talk about it. Yeah. It's the principle. Yeah. If it's not the principle right now in the middle of a pandemic, then like, bro, you're a sociopath. I don't know what else to tell. Like, I don't think people are quite getting that. If a politician was making $170,000 a year with health care, their own health care, who have been giving themselves regular raises, by the way, okay, giving corporations this money. Now we found out they're giving the military industrial complex money, and they're telling you they don't want to vote because they don't have the votes. But it didn't stop them when it was time to try and pin something on Trump that Joe Biden was guilty of, knowing that it would be dead on arrival in the Senate. Why? Because there is more to politics than winning the vote at that time. It's about setting the stage. And what Jimmy is asking progressives, and no, damn that, what he's asking all of us to do, because like Fox News did a poll, like 70% of their viewers want single payer healthcare, 90% of Democrats want single payer healthcare, everybody wants single payer healthcare. He's asking everybody to set the stage, so we can get something done for once, instead of just talking and pontificating behind these fucking cameras. And if anyone is telling you that we don't have the votes, therefore we should not put in the work and make the risk, they're sociopaths. And there's nothing more to be said. Tell them where they can find y'all at.
The Convo Couch at YouTube, at the Convo Couch on Twitter. You can find me at Fiorella_IM, at Yo Pasta on Twitter as well.
And Rockfin, ROKFIN.
Shout out to all the Rockfin people.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah. I think Johnny should show his face here because people didn't see Johnny's face.
Yeah, come see.
They gotta go see your face, Johnny. Got a new haircut.
Brother, like
he's looking good.
Looking like an evil villain in a bad telenovela.
Here he is.
Looking like the evil villain in a bad telenovela. Hey, Johnny
UCF is playing BYU tomorrow in the Boca Bowl. Let's go Knights.
Y'all know why they call him Johnny Sue? Cause he wavy. Look at that hair. Look, as soon as I saw, you got that hair. You got a haircut in Miami. You can't get that. You can't get that.
Absolutely no, Orlando. UCF.
South,
UCF
Central South Florida.
Cal.
Oh my God.
Cal.
That's where all the Miami barbers go when they want to start families and they're tired of the strip club life. Anyway, with that being said, scan the QR code or go to the link in the description below. Come Rockfin supporters or follow us on Odyssey. Make sure you follow the Convo Couch and me on the MCSC network. And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in to this very special segment of the Convo Es Mi Casa. And always remember, find your balance.
Peace.
Peace.
Convo out.
See, look, we get funny ears.